Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Global Digitalization. My title can be superimposed infinitely. Chapter 71. The 43rd floor is the mob floor, which is a gloomy tomb. An armored skeleton climbed out of the coffin, with frightening glimmers of light in the two eye sockets, and rushed forward screaming. Huang Tianli lost an identification technique. Undead bones. Level 32, dynamic level. Blood volume 100,000. Agility 3,400. Spirit 0. Hiss. Huang Tianli sucked in a breath of cold air. It's just a mob with a strength of around 60. Chu Chunggao and Hua Nianwei, who came from behind, also appraised the immortal bones, and immediately exclaimed, "They are so strong, can they handle it?" Su Mu stood with her hands behind her back, while Lang Junyao took the lead and attacked dozens of undead skeletons. Chu Chunggao and Hua Nianwei watched Lang Junyao fighting against so many monsters alone, and couldn't help but sweat. Shall we help? Huang Tianli knew that they were in a coma, that lost consciousness, and didn't know what happened, so he smiled wryly. Look at it, there is no need for Brother Su Mu to take action. Brother Su Mu. Chu Chunggao was a little confused by this title, but he didn't quite understand it. When he woke up, Jai Tong had disappeared, thinking that the proctor had taken action. But I followed to the 43rd floor, and I didn't see anyone else. Yi. Lang Junyao made a move, and a ball of pure ice breath swung out, covering all the dead bones immediately. Hua Nianwei worried. Lang Junyao is only level 50, but monsters have attributes of level 60, let's help. Huang Tianli smiled without saying a word, hee. Hua Nianwei. She looked puzzled, and the next moment, she saw a scene that shocked her. All the immortal bones touched by the breath of pure ice stopped moving. The soul fire in their eyes persisted for a second, and quickly dissipated. Lang Junyao walked across the courtyard leisurely, and the breeze blown by the wings of ice crystals blew these powerful undead monsters into pieces like flying ashes. How is it possible? Hua Nianwei's eyes widened. Lang Junyao, why are you so strong? Her memory still stays at the time when Lang Junyao was level 30, she was very strong at that time, but her strength was limited. It is also quite difficult to deal with monsters on the 41st floor. But now, with 2 floors higher and monster attributes greatly improved, she can do it in seconds. Chu Chunggao gradually came to his senses. No, it's not Lang Junyao that is fishy. Look, her body is translucent. I thought it was some kind of temporary buff, but it seems to be an elemental spirit. She is that Su Mu's pet. Hua Nianwei was also shocked. No, it's impossible. She couldn't understand. Such a powerful northern Lang family, such a proud daughter of a genius. Would you be willing to be someone else's follower? Thanks to the Xingling Pagoda's isolation from outside monitoring, if someone knew that the only daughter of the Lang family had been tamed, what a shock it would be. TB. Hua Nianwei tremblingly said. So, Lang Junyao suddenly became stronger because of that man. Huang Tianli glared at her. What is that man called? Brother Su Mu? Master Su Mu is also fine. Hua Nianwei panicked. It was the first time she saw the young master of the Huang family in Haicheng speak like this. The Huang family can also rank high in the entire Yanmeng, stomping their feet, can also dominate the death of millions of people, and also have their own secret cultivation realm. Even the young master is so humble. How strong is that Su Mu? Su Mu followed Lang Junyao and walked slowly. Undead bones, revenant liches, and blood-winged bats appear from coffins, sealed crystals, and murals everywhere. With a creepy howl, he rushed towards the 2 of them. Lang Junyao opened her hands, and the icy breath spread in all directions. In just an instant, these powerful undead creatures were frozen into ice. She then shot out a fine rain of ice crystal arrows, and the monsters that she touched turned into dust one after another. A group of powerful level 60 attribute monsters were all destroyed in such a light manner, leaving no dead bodies. And as Lang Junyao became more proficient in attributes, her efficiency in killing monsters was still improving. Su Mu followed behind slowly, looking at the panel. Killed undead bones. Dead soul lich has been killed. Bloodwing bat has been killed. ... Acquire experience value 10,284. Pet gains experience value 50,284. Acquired experience value 16,123. Pet gains experience value 51,251. Both of them are gaining experience crazily, and because Lang Junyao's level is low, there is a bonus in absorbing experience. Also because level 50 does not require much experience, she cleared the 43rd floor, and she was also promoted to level 51. Su Mu looked at another watch, which was the ladder map of the trial. Lang Junyao ranked second with a score of just over 300,000. And his score has reached the first 10,000. Although he didn't do anything at this level, but because of the summoning profession, all of Lang Junyao's kills were counted under his name. It's quite convenient. Let's go to the next floor. Su Mu waved her hand, telling Lang Junyao to continue walking up. The score has reached the first, the principal should be satisfied. If Dao Yingqi hadn't given the killing secret realm keystone, Su Mu's growth would not have been so fast. Maybe because of insufficient attributes, they can't beat the 200-level parasites. Su Mu sees that the score is the first, and the picture of gratitude is enough. But the Star Spirit Pagoda has already come, so just finish brushing. The few people behind were stunned. There are so many elite monsters on the 43rd floor, and it only took them 5 minutes. It's too strong. Hua Nianwei sighed, her heart was full of admiration. At this level, they are completely unworthy as opponents. Not to mention the mysterious Su Mu, Lang Junyao alone is enough to rival the elders of their clan. Chu Chonggao hesitated for a long time before saying, Su Mu, brother is so strong, why do you still come to the college entrance examination? Huang Tianli shook his head. Maybe it's just a personal preference, I like this kind of atmosphere. Hua Nianwei said, I guess he must be the apprentice or heir of a certain saint level or god level powerhouse. Participating in the trial is nothing more than having an open way to get in front of people. When the matter is over, see which strong man he will leave with, and then he will know his identity. The eyes of the other two people brightened. That's right. When I go back, I will also tell my family that Su Mu will become the mainstay of the front line in the next 10, 50, or 100 years. As long as he doesn't fall, he will surely ignite the divine fire. But thinking of igniting the divine fire, several people were a little bit embarrassed. That difficulty is too big. For 300 years, genius has never stopped. There is even a King Qingkang who reached level 1000 at the age of 18. At that time, everyone thought he would become a god. It's a pity that in the end, the foreign race used a small battle as a disguise, dispatched a large number of strong men, and fell into a small secret place. It doesn't matter, anyway, as long as I have me, I must support brother Su Mu. Huang Tianli's eyes were shining with fighting spirit. Whether it's for selfish reasons or for the entire Yan League, we must do our best to support it. At the same time, Su Mu has cleared the 44th floor, and Lang Junyao has been promoted to another level. When you reach the 45th floor, there is a cat demon boss blocking the way. Under the pressure of 80,000 attributes, Lang Junyao took it away with just 2 skills. Ding! Su Mu was about to go up when she heard a prompt. Occupation book obtained. Phantom Cat Demon Epic. Without thinking about it, Su Mu gave Lang Junyao the job letter. I learned to be a second job. Lang Junyao was taken aback for a moment, then said gratefully, thank you, master. She used the occupation book, and a golden light overflowed. Your pet has started a second job, Phantom Cat Demon. Main attributes: Agility, Spirit. Gain passives: Civet Agility, Lucky Bait, Shadow Lurker, Predator Speed. Get the initiative: Claw of Fate, Phantom Spirit Strike, Dark Knight Sprint, Deadly Gorilla Element. Lang Junyao's attributes have been raised again, and now all attributes are at 90,000 close to 100,000. Su Mu took a look at the skills. The epic class bonuses are good, each panel and bonuses are very strong. But one of the passives interested Su Mu more. Lucky Bait. Dodge is permanently increased by 30%, you can dodge a fatal attack, after which the passive invalidation requires a lucky charge. Lucky charge. Su Mu looked at this passivity and found it a bit unique. What is luck? He called Lang Junyao. Dodge the next attack. Lang Junyao was taken aback. What? Su Mu raised the sword of lightness and slashed head-on. Lang Junyao was startled, and she immediately dodged like a black shadow. But Su Mu has 230,000 attributes, both strength and agility are much higher than her. Lang Junyao tried her best to avoid it by chopping and wiping the corner of her clothes. Who? Master, you. She was startled, and just about to speak, she saw a long and deep gully drawn on the ground in front of her. As if the ground had been cut open, a long and narrow gully appeared, fully 100 meters long. But looking down, you can't see the bottom. Lang Junyao broke out in cold sweat immediately. If that sword hit her, she would be dead. Su Mu glanced at the panel. Lucky bait. Lucky is fully charged, and the color has been activated. It's interesting. Lang Junyao was lucky enough to avoid her own sword. It seems that it can be used for some interesting things. Su Mu thought to himself. Since he can recharge Lang Junyao's brother Chun's skill with one strike, he can make her do some dangerous things when he has no indestructible passive. The elemental body is not easy to die, or it can be repaired if it is damaged. Coupled with immortality and perpetual motion can be formed. Lang Junyao shuddered, always feeling that something bad happened. Su Mu thought about his skills, and raised his head cheerfully. Go ahead, brush forward. At this time, the trio behind also followed up, and seeing the huge gully on the ground, their hearts trembled. They didn't feel energy fluctuations at all, which meant that the opponent relied on pure physical strength to cut a gully several hundred meters long. What a power it is! Go, if you don't hurry up, Brother Su Mu will pass the level. Hua Nianwei shouted, waking up the two people behind. Huang Tianli and Chu Chunggao hurriedly followed behind and headed towards the high level together. Then, they saw a shocking picture. On the next level, countless pterosaurs appeared in the sky, and endless earth dragons emerged from the ground. A piece of ice crystals, across the country. On the next floor, a lion covered in flames and a hyena that was completely shadowed rushed out. A piece of ice fog, completely wiped out. On the next floor, there is a real dragon boss, 10 stories high, like a hill, staring at the comers. A huge ice thorn, instantly. Next level, Huang Tianli and the others watched Su Mu leisurely walk through the floors. The attributes of monsters increased layer by layer, but he didn't feel it at all. No matter what monster you encounter, it is a second move, and then you can get the loot. Beasts, elementals, aberrations, humanoids, ghosts. No matter who jumped out, they couldn't escape a piece of ice crystals, and were easily turned into powder. Obviously every monster has its own attributes, but under the overwhelming power, it has completely become a joke. As long as you show your head, you are dead. And it was only Lang Junyao who did it. Su Mu just followed behind with her hands behind her back. It seems that everything has nothing to do with him, he is only responsible for following behind and picking up the spoils. And Lang Junyao has changed a bit from before. 2 black cat ears appeared on the top of her head, and a fluffy tail followed behind her. The ice crystal clothes also added more colors before, with black stripes, which made her limbs more delicate and attractive. However, Su Mu's madness and lustful passiveness make him more attractive in the eyes of different people. Lang Junyao inherited the attributes of the master, and also inherited the charm. Whoever sees her is subconsciously charmed, thinking it's just a lazy, alluring cat. But when the destructive icy breath approached everything, it was too late. Huang Tianli and Chu Chunggao hurriedly turned their eyes away, not daring to look any further. That's not something they can covet, don't look at evil. What surprised them even more was that Lang Junyao's level would increase every time she passed 1.5 floors. 52, 53, 54, 60, 62, 67, 70. How did she level up so fast? Hua Nianwei was shocked. Huang Tianli pointed to Su Mu who was strolling in front of him. Don't you see how big Brother Su is? Hua Nianwei looked at it, but didn't dare to throw the identification technique. How many levels? Huang Tianli. Level 120. Hua Nianwei was startled. Level 120. No wonder. When the pet is at a low level, it will have experience bonuses and can quickly catch up. She couldn't help being a little envious. If she could also curry favor with Su Mu, she might be able to soar into the sky. Ding. When Lang Junyao reached level 100, a wizard boss also fell. Ding. Congratulations on completing the Star Tower, you are the first person to clear the level in 117 years. Please withdraw the prize. Irrelevant, please leave. A portal opened, and Huang Tianli and the others were shocked to find that the Star Spirit Pagoda had been cleared. This is the first customs clearance in 117 years. They were both shocked and reasonable. If Su Mu can't pass the level, who can? Moreover, after he dealt with Jai Tong, he never made a single shot. Only relying on pets can easily kill everything in the rear. In the end, the boss only lasted 30 seconds longer before dying. From the 42nd floor to the 100th floor, it didn't even take an hour. Let's go, the reward is not something we can covet. Chu Chunggao sighed and walked towards the portal. Huang Tianli walked up to Su Mu and bowed. Brother Su Mu, thank you for saving me. This is something from Jai Tong. It may not mean much to you, but you deserve it. He put down his things, and he and Walengwei left together. Of course Su Mu didn't think too much, so he glanced at the things. There are several career books, the best of which is Master Illusionist. Without further ado, he learned all of them, added a bunch of active and passive skills, and improved his attributes a bit. Afterwards, Su Mu said loudly, "Get the reward from the Star Tower." Ding! A reminder came from Su Mu's ear. Reward withdrawal. Acquired. 117 years of trial experience. Obtained. Certificate of storage. Please select the form. Obtained. Occupation clearance document normal. Obtained. Occupation book. Demon Storer epic. 4 objects were suspended in front of Su Mu, and he couldn't help showing a surprised expression. These things are so precious. It is indeed the reward of the 100th floor of the Star Tower. The first one is an ordinary elixir, but it is actually a 117-year trial comprehension. The trial continent accommodates millions or tens of millions of students every year, and everyone's fierce battles, struggles, and production will stir up the rules, and condense into a strand of trial sentiment. Because no one cleared the Star Spirit Pagoda in 117 years, these insights were preserved and accumulated year by year. Su Mu swallowed the elixir without thinking. A hot current gushed out from his stomach, and quickly entered his mind and limbs. In just a few seconds, Su Mu felt that he had gone through countless trials and saw endless students fighting and fighting with monsters. There are also tens of millions of life professionals who search for resources in the boundless forests, deserts, and oceans, and manufacture equipment with effects. Su Mu stood there, motionless. Leng Junyao stood quietly beside her, guarding her surroundings. Although the Star Spirit Pagoda is very safe, she still has to fulfill her responsibilities. About half an hour passed before Su Mu opened his eyes and let out a long breath. It's so rich in insights, I can't absorb it all for the time being. Su Mu feels that she has strengthened a lot, although the level of the testers is not high, the average level is 20. But there are too many people, and there are thousands of occupations. The display of such a large number of occupations allowed Su Mu to comprehend by analogy and generate many ideas. Now even with a basic blade-heavy strike skill, Su Mu can extract the essence from hundreds of professions that use swords, and make a shocking blow. But this comprehension is too profound, and it is different from the comprehension of myriad worlds in the slaughtering secret realm. This one is more gentle. Su Mu can't fully absorb it for the time being, and needs to be stimulated and comprehended little by little in actual combat. Next, Su Mu looked at the second item. Certificate of storage. Please select the form. Su Mu was delighted. This is not a standard space ring. After the global digitization of this thing, it was produced by space professionals. But the price is too expensive. 1 cubic meter can be sold for 300,000 yuan. Su Mu was so cash-strapped that she couldn't afford it at all. But now it's different, there are rewards. Ring shape, Su Mu said. The certificate of storage emitted bursts of light in the air, and then turned into a silver ring, which fell into Su Mu's hands. He opened it and was shocked. 10,000 cubic meters. A cubic meter of storage equipment costs 300,000. The bigger the space, the more expensive it is per cubic meter. After all, it is better to carry a large space equipment than to carry a bunch of dingling clanging. For 10,000 cubic meters, the price must be at least several billion, or even tens of billions. Su Mu was overjoyed, poured out everything in the bag, and put it into the interspatial ring. Next came a career clearance paperwork, which was of no use to Su Mu. Holding the paperwork, he pondered for a moment whether to get rid of the botanist. After thinking about it, forget it. Although botanist is a life profession, it also provides several jungle affinity passives, so there is no need to clear them. This thing is useless to oneself, but it can be sold to the outside world. After choosing a job, many second-generation workers found that their compatibility was inconsistent, but another job position was taken. If you show this thing to them, it will be very popular. The last is a career book. Magic storage. Su Mu looked at the item introduction, a little puzzled. Why did you give it a life occupation? Forget it, let's learn first. He used the occupation book, and a purple ray entered his body. Seeing that Lang Junyao had been guarding him, Su Mu asked, aren't you curious that I used this career book again? Lang Junyao immediately bowed her head respectfully. Master naturally has his own thoughts, I dare not talk too much. Su Mu smiled. It's okay, just don't talk nonsense. He just said lightly, but the contract will burn this sentence into Lang Junyao's heart. Even if she was coerced and controlled, she couldn't tell this matter. Even death cannot break through the contract. Su Mu absorbed the job book, looked at the effect, and suddenly changed his face. It's not a 100-layer reward. Demon storage epic. Main attributes: strength, spirit. Gain passives: scholar thinking, enchanting specialization, magic absorption, mana source. Gain initiative: efficient enchantment, magic manufacturing, spell storage, spell granting. Although this magic storage is biased towards life occupations, it doesn't have a single damage skill. But the passivity inside is all ridiculously strong. Scholar's thinking. The speed of casting spells, including enchanting and manufacturing, is increased by 10–50%, depending on the proficiency. Enchantment specialization. The effectiveness of created magic items is increased by 30%, and the success rate is increased by 30%. Magic absorption. Absorb 30% of magic damage received and store it as mana. If the mana is full, a mana shield will be formed. Source of mana. Mana regenerates 100% faster. Energy, stamina, focus, rage, etc. regenerate 30% faster. All enchanted items slowly recharge. Seeing these passivity, Su Mu was slightly surprised. The speed of casting spells is increased, and the chanting is faster. At the same time, others only cast one spell, but I can cast 2 or 3 spells. Quantitative changes can produce qualitative changes. Not to mention the enhancement of the enchanting effect, this is a magical skill for life occupations. The effect is increased by 30%, and the production of primary enchanted items can reach the intermediate level. The same materials, but better equipment can be produced, and the things will never be sold. And the magic absorption and mana source in the back are a perfect match. Su Mu has the title of Abyssal Wise Man, and already has 10,000% mana recovery speed, plus all kinds of mana recovery equipment and mana potions devoured. The mana value can't be used up at all. Now it has increased the recovery speed by 100%, and the mana has it value is basically full. The magic absorption can absorb spell damage, and if it is full of blue, it will form a shield. If the enemy casts a fireball with 100 damage on Su Mu, the magic absorption will be 30%, which is 30 points. These 30 points will form a shield, and will instantly offset 30 points. In the end, the one who hit the body only had 40 points of damage. 100 points of damage, only 40 points take effect in the end. It means that Su Mu can always have 60% magic resistance, which is not weak. Moreover, other magic shields can be opened at any time to offset the remaining 40%. Permanently maintain 60% magic resistance, it is ridiculously strong wherever it is placed. Unexpectedly, the passive skills most desired by combat professions are in life professions. But these are not enough to shock Su Mu. His previous spell resistance wasn't high, but he wasn't afraid of legal professions either. What surprised him the most were the 2 active skills of the magic storage. Spell storage. Store an arbitrary spell, up to 100/100s. Spell granting. Grant stored spells to any item, and each item can grant up to 5 spells. Spells take effect between spells. Su Mu was very pleasantly surprised, the effects of these 2 spells fit so well. If it is just a pure magic storage, as a life profession, it means storing some ordinary spells in it. Such as healing, spell shield, or enchanting fireball on bows and ammunition. As a life profession, combat skills, control skills, healing skills, and auxiliary skills are not much stronger. The effects given by these two skills are not much better than other enchanted equipment. But Su Mu has too many skills, among other things, enchant 5 parts of the World Destroyer and burn the prison on 1 arrow. As long as you find another shooter class, relying on high-value attributes, you can perform super wide-range AoE several kilometers or even dozens of kilometers away. Or enchant the drowsiness, confusion, blinding and other effects in the poisonous needle. With a light blow, the guard can be controlled and sneaked in easily. Or simply enchant the armor with concealment, invisibility, stealth, and untraceable, and you can become a super assassin who cannot be observed at all. Or if the trap is enchanted with stasis, the captured person will be bound by the position in an instant, unable to even think, and can only be captured obediently. This effect, combined with Su Mu's ability to learn unlimited professions, is really a perfect fit. He simply took out an ordinary white sword and enchanted it with a copy of Exterminating World and Burning Prison. Ding! Successful enchantment. Sharp sword, normal. Weapon damage, 8 to 13. Features: destruction of the world and burning prison. Unstable, may erupt at any time, causing 50,000 plus 520,000 points of damage. Su Mu watched the blade of the white sword begin to crack, and a frightening firelight appeared underneath, and quickly put it into the space ring. The space ring has only space, which can isolate matter, time and other factors, and the sword is also stable at the moment of cracking. It seems that it has something to do with the level. If the item level is too low, the enchantment will be unstable. Su Mu thought, but was still very happy. It's not a big problem. I also have life occupations. If I forge some high-grade equipment, I can enchant stronger skills on it. This time, Su Mu didn't even break a sweat, but he gained a lot. His fighting power has soared a lot, and it's time to leave. Outside, everyone looked at the screen nervously. It has been more than an hour since Su Mu entered the Star Spirit Pagoda, and everyone was on tenterhooks. Why did you go in for so long? Could something have happened inside? Chen Kai, the Minister of Internal Affairs, asked anxiously. The Principal Dao Yingqi wiped off his sweat, but he still forcibly calmed down and said, "It's okay, Su Mu is very calm and will not do dangerous things." But he has no idea. A few days into the tower, the score soared for a while. The scores of Leng Junyao, Huang Tianli, Chu Chunggao, Wan Nianwei, and Jai Tong were among the best, once reaching more than 200,000 and 300,000. According to the score conversion, they are probably located on the 40th to 45th floor. But since then, the number of embarrassment has stagnated for a long time. Will something happen? At that time, a teacher was very nervous. There are casualties every year in the trial. Will they be killed by the boss? Don't talk nonsense. Dao Yingqi glared at him. These are all the treasures of the big families. How could there be no means to save their lives? HMPH. Sun Yusheng folded his hands and stood behind the crowd. The way to save your life. Where is the Star Spirit Pagoda? There are lives to enter, but no lives to spend. What did you say? Chen Kai glared at him. They are all students of my Yanmang. How could you curse like that? Sun Yusheng spread his hands, looking leisurely. I'm just telling the truth. Quote. Get out of here. Sigh. Chen Kai wanted to drive him away, but in the end he just let out a long sigh. Sun Yusheng is a member of Wenxi Academy, and the secret realm around the Yanmang of this organization has very strong forces, and there are more than a dozen strong people. He came to Wangxi this time to win over talents as a fellow villager. Sun Yusheng once used the disappearance of S-level talent Pan Zian as an excuse to interrogate Su Mu. This kind of thing is already regarded as meddling in the internal affairs of the Yan League, but it is powerful and it is also for the reason of the human race. Chen Kai is a Minister of Internal Affairs, and he really can't do anything to him. I can only think about it, report it quickly, and order him to be expelled immediately. But now that there is an accident in the trial continent, it is a mess from top to bottom, and I really can't care about such trivial matters. Fortunately, the scores changed quickly. The arrogance of several families is no longer changing. Songyu Su Mu 10 people's scores keep rising. And, going up really fast. Teachers, staff, and the principal watched Su Mu's score jump from 300,000 to 400,000 to 500,000. I was very happy at the beginning. I felt that Su Mu no longer kept it, and went all out to give them a face. But soon, their worries outweighed their excitement. Principal Dao, is his speed too fast? The head teacher hesitated for a long time before speaking tremblingly. Su Mu's scores never stop rising, they always jump up by big numbers. They couldn't imagine how a level 10 student could brush so fast. No, Su Mu must have successfully changed his profession. Only with professional skills can he move up quickly. Dao Yingqi said calmly. HMPH, what about a level 10 professional? Sun Yusheng said strangely, look at the score, it has reached about 60 floors. Monsters have a level of 70, can level 10 defeat a monster of level 70? Others smothered their anger, but could not refute. It took Su Mu half an hour to deal with the level 45 tiger and scorpion before. If he changed jobs again, he would still be at level 10, but with a few more active and passive skills. At level 10, can you brush all the way up without stopping, like cutting melons and vegetables? Dao Yingqi said. He entered the killing secret realm, so he must have killing points. Everyone nodded slightly. With kill value, it can indeed be converted into experience value and upgraded in place. Sun Yusheng sneered. How much can you save? 100,000, 1 million, or 10 million? He can only open the secret realm door, so he really thinks he is the master of the secret realm. With this killing value, it has risen to the top of the 20th and 30th levels. Can it kill monsters of the 70th and 80th levels? While speaking, Yin Mu's score jumped up again. The monsters now have levels of 80 to 90. The dynamic level is just to prevent the tester from being crushed by the level, causing resistance or missing. But the attributes of monsters are really high. If Su Mu stays in one area, it will take a long time for the score to rise a bit, which can also make everyone feel at ease. But his score never stops and keeps rising, which is worrying. There was another thought in the hearts of the people present, but no one dared to say it. That is the person who is still climbing the Star Spirit Pagoda Su Mu. What happened in the trial continent is already an open secret. Everyone knows that parasites have infiltrated and caused harm to the students. Fortunately, Su Mu made a move and opened the door to the killing secret, allowing people to avoid danger. Now there are 7 million students in the killing realm, and the remaining 3 million are still searching. The students have uncovered hundreds of parasites. They are isolated by the gate of the secret realm. Once they enter, they will be separated and dropped, and then they will be attacked by groups. A parasite without a host is very fragile and can be wiped out by a few students. But if it is parasitized, there is no good way to identify it except for the door of the killing secret. If there is no such safety zone, it is unknown how many people will die among them. Everyone sighed in their hearts thanks to Su Mu, and worried about him at the same time. No matter how strong his skills are, he is only a low-level professional. According to the parasites, one of them hides. Now it seems that there is a high probability that it will enter the Star Spirit Pagoda where the Tianjiao are. As for Su Mu, the speed of climbing is too fast, which is worrying. If he has already been defeated by the parasites, he has been manipulated. With the ability of a high-level powerhouse, climbing at this speed corresponds to the soaring score. Everyone at the scene looked gloomy, especially Dao Yingqi, who had already clenched his fists tightly. It was hard for them to accept that a newly discovered genius in the rough would be corrupted by parasites. Also at this time, the liaison officer said pleasantly, Principal Yanmeng has summoned new space professionals, and the access has been opened. Everyone was surprised. Can you come back? The teacher in charge was the fastest, grabbed a rabbit and threw it towards the gate of the secret realm. The rabbit disappeared out of thin air, and on the screen, there was a small image of the rabbit. It has entered the trial continent. At the same time, in front of the Star Spirit Pagoda, Huang Tianli and others were teleported to the main entrance. They were all pale, with traces of serious injuries on their bodies, and they were very weak. In about half a minute, a dozen or so people flew towards them and surrounded the group. Huang Tianli and the others wanted to say something, but these people had already used soothing spells to put them to sleep, and after a simple treatment to stabilize their injuries, they flew away with them. Chen Kaidao. It's those family members, they have already started to save people, let's evacuate the students too. Dao Yingqi nodded. Okay, all the teachers will enter, bring more scrolls back to the city, and bring out as many of our students as possible. A group of teachers took orders, took the things, and immediately entered the gate of the secret realm. Soon, the trial continent became lively, and the outside support quickly intervened to drive away their own people. And those students who had never entered the killing realm were brought into it, screened out for being corrupted by parasites, and then tore open the scrolls and returned to the city. Dao Yingqi stood in front of the screen, still staring at it. Sun Yusheng looked a little regretful, but he still said sarcastically, "Don't think about it, that Su Mu must be controlled by the parasites. A little kid at level 10, can he get to the top? Look, it has reached the 99th, 100th floor now, does he have this ability?" Dao Yingqi gave him a hard look. "My student, I will arrange it myself." Chen Kai sighed, and said in a low voice, "Old Dao, I also hope that the deserted city will emerge, but the situation is special now, let's make a decision. It has been 117 years since no one reached the top of the Star Spirit Pagoda, and even God-level powerhouses cannot fully develop their talents during this period. Su Mu is indeed strong, but it is impossible to reach the 100th floor. We can't let parasites enter human territory, it will cause a huge disaster." Dao Yingqi's face was cloudy and uncertain. Chen Kai turned his head and said regretfully, "If you can't make up your mind, I can only follow the route of the Ministry of Internal Affairs and arrest Su Mu on the spot." "No," Dao Yingqi still lowered his head, "my student, I will take responsibility for him. When he comes back, I will inquire personally. If there is something wrong, I will go through the way of your Ministry of Internal Affairs." Chen Kai shrugged. "Okay." The crowd waited for another half an hour, and more students were picked up. After arranging them to register their occupations and grades, they should be treated and healed. The scores will be aggregated at the end, and then the selection of colleges and universities will be carried out. Swish! In front of the Star Spirit Pagoda, Yin Shui's figure appeared. Appearing at the same time as him, there was also Lang Junyao in black and white clothes, floating gently in the air. "Su Mu, miss." Two voices came out, and Su Mu looked up. The two were suspended in the air, and one stepped on a flying rock, staring at him coldly. One person flapped his wings, landed excitedly, and half kneeled on the ground. "Miss, this old servant is late." Lang Junyao shook her head. "Uncle Chin, please tell my father for me that the former Junyao is dead, and now only the master's pet." "Guard," Su Mu said. Uncle Chin was dumbfounded. "Miss, what are you talking about? Wait, why are you elementalized? How is your body?" Lang Junyao glanced at Su Mu gratefully. "You go back, I will communicate with my father." Uncle Chin glanced at Su Mu, wondering whether to express anger or hostility for a while. Su Mu said, "I am in the deserted city. This matter is too big." The young lady of the Lang family suddenly changed her appearance. "You have to take care." Uncle Chin looked at Lang Junyao with complicated eyes, and tore open the scroll to return to the city. In the sky, the person stepping on the flying rock said coldly, "Yes." Su Mu nodded. "What can you do?" The man looked at him very vigilantly, ready to strike at any time, tear off the scroll and go back to the deserted city. Su Mu was a little confused, and came here to watch her go back to the city. His scroll was gone when he opened the gate of the rift, and my team asked for another one. Tear open the scroll, and bring Lang Junyao back to the deserted city. As soon as she walked out the door, Su Mu felt something was wrong. There are a lot of powerful auras around. Although no one can be seen, there are people hiding behind the usual teaching buildings, playgrounds, and warehouses. These people are very high level, and they cannot be detected normally. But the eye of nothingness can perceive malice, it senses different sights from different directions. But the strange thing is that these malice are not pure, but also mixed with a lot of regret and reluctance. Su Mu raised her eyes and saw Dao Yingqi and the others standing in front of her. Dao Yingqi sighed. "Su Mu. Arrest him." Before the principal finished speaking, Sun Yusheng yelled, "Human traitor, catch him." Swish. A few people jumped down from the surroundings and immediately surrounded Su Mu in the middle. Dao Yingqi was furious. "Sun Yusheng. What are you doing?" Sun Yusheng sneered. "I ask the people of the World Academy, do you still need to ask?" Su Mu sensed that after these people jumped out, the hidden aura hadn't disappeared. It just diverted attention to some of these people. It doesn't look like they belong to the same group. The corners of Su Emu's mouth rose slightly. Sun Yusheng pointed at Su Mu and said proudly, "The traitor controlled by the parasites, catch him." Dao Yingqi sighed. "Su Mu, don't resist, don't worry, I will ask clearly." "It's fine." Su Mu shook his head. "By the way, Principal Dao." Dao Yingqi looked up. "Huh." Su Mu said, "Fortunately, I did not disgrace my life and won the first prize for you." Dao Yingqi opened his mouth slightly in surprise. He was accused of being a traitor. But he actually still remembered his wish, to win a champion. Dao Yingqi burst into tears, and said vaguely, "Okay, good boy. Don't be fooled by him." Sun Yusheng shouted angrily, "The parasites absorbed his memory, it's just a trick. Don't delay the time, obediently catch him." While speaking, his men approached Su Mu step by step. Su Mu also turned her face and looked at Sun Yusheng. "It's your turn." Sun Yusheng. Swish. People around showed surprised expressions, and they didn't even bother to hide the auras in the distance. They stuck their heads out one after another, showing shocking expressions. Su Emu's movements are so fast that the afterimage is drawn out. He rushed to Sun Yusheng in a flash, grabbed his face and smashed it to the ground. Boom. Long time. Boom. With a loud explosion, Sun Yusheng's face was directly pressed against the hard ground. Boom. The gravel splashed and directly smashed out a deep pit. The people around are not low level, so naturally they are not afraid of gravel, but are extremely shocked. Chen Kai said angrily, "Su Mu, what are you doing?" Swish swish swish. 4 people jumped out of the surrounding hiding places, and each of them was burning with not weak energy fluctuations. Wind, shadow, sharp blade, musket, several of them took out or used their skills, all aimed at Su Mu. Hum. A powerful aura erupted from Sun Yusheng's body, causing the complexions of the people around him to change. You. Provoke. Fire. Me. He put his hands on the ground and pulled his face out of the pit little by little. Dao Yingqi's complexion turned pale. This Sun Yusheng must be at least level 200. Among the surrounding crowd, he is the highest level. Su Mu is in danger. Dao Yingqi didn't care about any human traitors, so he hurriedly shouted and said, "Su Mu, resign." The momentum accumulated in Sun Yusheng's body was getting stronger and stronger. Every muscle in his body was trembling with anger, and he was about to pull himself out of the ground. Boom. Su Mu stepped on his back and nailed him into the ground again. Noisy. Special Envoy. Sun Yusheng's subordinates were shocked, and immediately summoned flames and lightning, and rushed forward. Stop. Leng Junyao made a cold voice, gently raised a hand, and the white mist circled towards Sun Yuguai's men. Sun Yusheng's subordinates were still charging, and suddenly felt a year-old under their feet. Click. Several people fell heavily on the ground, trying to get up, but found that they couldn't do it. They were horrified to find that their ankles were frozen to the ground, and there was nothing under their calves. And their arms, because of this fall, subconsciously supported the ground, and shattered into ice balls. Several people wailed in horror. The cold froze their nerves. It was not painful, but desperate. Only then did Dao Yingqi notice Su Emu's little follower, and he was shocked. "Leng, Miss Leng. Why is she here?" Sun Yusheng's body was nailed into the ground in a carrot shape. He just felt dumbfounded at this moment. "Who I am? Where am I? Who hit me? A student, let me stand up." Anger welled up in his heart again, and Sun Yusheng's aura became more and more intense, and even the capillaries were burst by the energy, dyeing the surface of the skin blood red. I want you, die." Sun Yusheng roared angrily and wanted to stand up again. Chen Kai saw the increasingly chaotic situation, Miss Leng's family hurting people openly. Su Mu attacked the envoy of the Academy of Adventism. How is he so strong? He mentioned the majesty of the minister and shouted, "Su Mu, stop." Dao Yingqi also said, "Su Mu, stop. Do you know what you are doing?" Su Mu stepped on Sun Yusheng's back, crushing him like a dead dog. "Of course I know." Dao Yingqi hated iron and said, "Although he provoked you, there are certain, reasons. You accept the investigation honestly. As long as you prove that you have not been parasitized, you will be innocent. You saved so many people. Yanmeng will definitely give you the title of Hero of the Alliance." Su Mu chuckled. "Okay. Dao Yingqi breathed a sigh of relief, and whispered to Chen Kai, I advise him not to do anything, and your people don't do it either. Chen Kai nodded dissatisfied. He was looking forward to Su Mu very much, but now it seems that he is just a capable reckless man. Such a person can easily be led away by emotions in the future. Dao Yingqi cleared his throat. Okay, Su Mu, come here, don't step on Special Envoy Sun again. Sun Yusheng, don't give me any wrong thoughts, let's sit down and talk slowly. Sun Yusheng was furious in his heart, but he still snorted with difficulty. He, a level 203 master, was stepped on by a student, he couldn't move. Sun Yusheng made up his mind that once Su Mu let him stand up, he would destroy him with thunder. Su Mu let go of his legs, and said calmly, Principal Dao, you said that the Yanmang will give me the title of Alliance Hero, right? Dao Yingqi was stunned for a moment, then nodded, yes. Chen Kai frowned, why is this kid so greedy? Have you started coveting rewards before your suspicions have been cleared? Su Mu smiled. Then this guy, deliberately attacking the heroes of the Alliance, is it considered a traitor? The expressions of the others changed immediately. No, Dao Yingqi yelled. The helper Chen Kai invited has jumped up, attacking with various attributes. Leng Junyao's robe fluttered, thousands of ice crystals shot at the four masters with precision. These four people all have level 150, and their faces are full of disdain. How dare you attack a few people in their 60s and 70s? But when the ice crystal was drawn in front of them, they were shocked. Boom! These four people were all blown away, but fortunately Leng Junyao saved her strength, so they would not become sieves. And Sun Yusheng felt that the feet on his back were removed, and he was about to explode. You're dead, he roared angrily, suddenly feeling something was wrong. A hand rested lightly on his back. Boom! Sun Yusheng was pressed even harder into the ground again. 0. Puff! 1/3 of his body was crushed, and fluid gushed out from the 9 palaces. Different from the previous 2 attacks, this one directly severely injured him, with 1/5 of his life remaining. How could this happen? Sun Yusheng's mind was in chaos, and he didn't understand the situation at all. Why can a student seriously injure himself with one palm without relying on skills? He kept coughing up blood, and felt that hand on top of his head. Tame, Su Mu said softly. The expressions of Sun Yusheng and everyone around him changed drastically. What are you doing? Chen Kai roared angrily. The Ministry of Internal Affairs does not have such a strong military force, and those 4 people are good players he invited for his personal relationship. Now they were all blown away by the followers, and he didn't dare to go forward. Sun Yusheng felt his mind was empty, as if he was being pulled from his body. You, how dare you? He uttered his final roar, how dare you tame the special envoy of the seminary? Su Mu read the note calmly. Dying, mentally frustrated, unable to move, such a creature could not be tamed more easily. Ding! Human Sun Yusheng has been tamed. Sun Yusheng. Attributes brief. Loyalty, 10%. Su Mu raised his hand, and threw out a deliberately weakened healing technique, causing Sun Yusheng to kneel. He looked around blankly. Master. Sun Yusheng hated in his heart, and returned to the contract to let him abide by the most basic rules of life. Dao Yingqi was stunned, and after a while, he sighed, Su Mu, do you know what you're doing? He was troubled. Attacking Sun Yusheng was considered a personal grievance. But to tame officials in public, this is stepping on the face of the academy. The academy of Wenxi is huge, and as the principal, he is powerless to protect it. Su Mu said calmly, I know. Sun Yusheng, tell me, why are you dealing with me? Sun Yusheng opened his mouth, struggling fiercely in his heart. Force the will. Su Mu activated a skill randomly, temporarily increasing Sun Yusheng's loyalty to 45%. He knelt down on the ground, with a distressed face. I have been ordered. Wow, suddenly burst of light blue flame rose from Sun Yusheng's body, he rolled and howled in the fire. Every few seconds, it turns into a pool of ashes. Dao Yingqi's eyes widened, thinking taboo has been triggered. This breath, it's the Ghost Clan. Ghost Clan. How can there be foreigners? Sun Yusheng, there are foreign taboos on the special envoy of Wen Seminary. Everyone present was shocked. This official from the Invention Academy actually bears the imprint of a foreign race. He has been banned. If he tells the secret, he will burn himself to death. Dao Yingqi frowned. Su Mu waved his hands in distaste. Sun Yusheng was instructed by foreigners to let the parasites invade the trial continent. Now that the truth is revealed, is there any business for me? He didn't intend to let Sun Yusheng live for too long, it would be easy for him to be burned. Dao Yingqi smiled reluctantly. Su Mu uncovered foreign spies, loyalty can be learned, you first. No. On the ground, Sun Yusheng's men with severed arms and legs screamed, Ghost Clan and Parasite Clan are not the same thing. Sun Te. Sun Yusheng died when he died, and he deserved it. Whether you are controlled by the parasites or not is still unknown. Shut up. Dao Yingqi yelled angrily, follow the lackeys of the Ghost Clan, the next step is to deal with you. Sun Yusheng's subordinates looked at Su Mu with hatred, knowing that he could not die well today, and he dragged anyone into the water if he could. Old Dao. Chen Kai hesitated, although I don't want to, but the words are not wrong. U20 the Soul Clan is different from the Parasite Clan, and Sun Yusheng is a spy, so there is no way to prove that Su Mu. Dao Yingqi looked at Chen Kai in amazement. Old Chen, you. Sigh. Chen Kai turned his face away, not daring to look at him. Don't worry, let Su Mu go back with me to accept the investigation, I won't make things difficult, and I will make a conclusion soon. I will answer the phone. Chen Kai's phone rang suddenly, and when he answered the phone, his expression became more and more surprised. Yes, and there's this thing. Okay, I see, thanks. Chen Kai got off his phone. Suddenly with a smile on his face, he said loudly, I just received a call from the Internal Affairs Department of Longdu. The Huang family in Haicheng, the Chu family in Shandu, and the Hua family in Shangcheng have all given guarantees. Not only was Su Mu not under control, but he defeated a level 200 parasite expert in the Star Spirit Pagoda and saved the 3 heirs. The 3 families have verified with the soul contract, this matter is true. Su Mu, there is no suspicion. Crash. Immediately there was a burst of applause, and everyone had beaming smiles on their faces, that's great. Hero, Su Mu is our hero. I defeated the parasites alone and saved thousands of students. Awesome. Dao Yingqi was also surprised. Su Mu actually defeated the 200-level parasite powerhouse. When was he so strong? Dao Yingqi also came to his senses at this time. Su Mu was able to suppress Sun Yusheng like a dead dog. The latter is also a powerhouse of more than 200 levels, and everyone on the field risked their lives to die together. But Su Mu, with 1 foot and 1 hand, didn't even use his skills, so he easily suppressed him. Dao Yingqi also gradually began to believe that Su Mu really has the ability to defeat the strong parasites and clear the Star Spirit Pagoda. Chen Kai apologized at this time. Su Mu, I'm sorry, for the safety of the people in Huangshi, I had to doubt your identity before. Su Mu thought for a while, but still waved her hand, it's okay. In that position, it's normal to be skeptical. Moreover, Chen Kai just wanted Su Mu to be investigated, but Sun Yusheng wanted to be imprisoned directly. Su Mu doesn't have a bad impression of this kind of person. Chen Kai Dao, congratulations, you took this year's champion. Do you have any follow-up arrangements? I want to ask you a few questions, which can be regarded as an explanation to the upper echelon of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Su Mu agreed. Several people entered the room. Before they started asking, Dao Yingqi said, Su Mu, I don't care what adventures you have. Answer if you want to answer, and if you don't want to answer, don't say anything. Su Mu was a little moved, the principal was all for his own good, and nodded, okay. Chen Kai asked some questions, probably about the situation in the Xingling Pagoda and about Leng Junyao. Su Mu didn't hide anything here, after all, Huang Tianli and others also knew it, so they couldn't hide it. Chen Kai didn't ask why Su Mu is so strong, and what skills and templates he has. Song registered his level and occupation. Botanist. Chen Kai and Dao Yingqi frowned slightly, but then let go. Don't be discouraged. Dao Yingqi patted Su Mu on the shoulder, it's a first-class job. After that, I'll ask my old friend if there are any job books like Druid, so I can make a fusion for you. Su Mu smiled slightly. No need, I have my own arrangements. It's good to have an arrangement. Dao Yingqi said with emotion, you really surprised me. How much experience do you need to upgrade to level 110 in one day? Killing realm. If you don't want to say it, you don't have to say it. What rating did you get? Su Mu smiled and said, SSS. Hiss. Both of them gasped. How much authority do you have over the entire secret realm? Su Mu shook his head. Not much, I can only open and close the door of the secret realm. The two people were slightly relieved, so it would not be too much. Su Mu continued. There is also the ability to control the entry and exit of objects, living things. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Both of them jumped up. It was you who kicked everyone out of the secret realm earlier. Su Mu nodded. Chen Kai and Dao Yingqi looked at each other, and both could see the shock in each other's eyes. No wonder Su Mu was able to pass through the gate of the secret realm and keep the parasites out. On the surface, he only has the authority to enter and exit, but he has completely mastered this secret realm. Dao Yingqi said seriously. Su Mu, don't agree to anyone's request for a short time. The killing secret realm connects many worlds and has extremely high strategic significance. It is waiting for the Yanmeng to negotiate with you. If Su Mu can remove the level 10 entry restriction, then this secret realm can become a passage world. It turns out that you need to go through several, or dozens of secret realms to reach the world. You can quickly reach the sky only through the killing secret. Whether it is business contacts or tactical airborne, it is of great significance. As long as you spend a little effort to manage it, this secret realm can bring extremely high returns. Chen Kai smiled wryly. Old Dao, okay, you are teaching Su Mu to pluck the wool of Yanmeng. Dao Yingqi said proudly, I'll just ask you if you want it or not. Chen Kai could only nod his head. Okay, I will submit this matter up. Su Mu, just like Lao Dao said, don't agree to other people's requests for now, and wait for the Yanmeng to negotiate with you in order to achieve the highest return. Quote. Su Mu also knew that they were doing it for her own good, so she nodded, okay. Chen Kai continued. By the way, you opened the door to the secret realm in the trial continent, don't withdraw for now, wait for 2 or 3 days, and confirm that all the students have left and there are no parasites on them before canceling. Su Mu agreed. Dao Yingqi thought for a while, and added, you killed Sun Yusheng indirectly, he is a spy of the ghost tribe, we have the upper hand in this matter. However, Wen Shi Yuan's behavior is more domineering, and you have to be prepared for the other party to find fault. Su Mu nodded. Not only did he know that the other party would find fault, he also knew who it might be. Don't worry, you are the champion of the Yan League this year, and you are the hero of the alliance. They dare not do anything wrong. Dao Yingqi said, if they really want to come, my old man, and this dead old Chen, will definitely keep you. He waved his hand. Okay, let's go back and rest first. Remember, you must grasp the original intention, and don't be affected by the sudden increase in power. Su Mu nodded. His first powerful title came from the undead God King. This extremely powerful god-level powerhouse will also be defeated and sealed. Su Mu's goal is also to become a god, so naturally he won't die in the early stage. He bid farewell to the two and returned home. Big brother, have you finished your college entrance examination? Su Anan opened the door and welcomed her with open arms in surprise. But she immediately looked behind Su Mu in surprise. Who is this? Su Mu waved his hand. A friend. Leng Junyao bent slightly. I belong to the master. Friend, cough cough. Su Mu said, call me Su Mu here. Leng Junyao opened her mouth. The contract had engraved the words in her heart. She nodded, brother Su Mu. Su Mu pointed at Su Anan. My sister, Su Anan, is my mother in the kitchen. This is Leng Junyao, a friend. He yelled and sighed, Mom, I'm back. Su Anan looked at Leng Junyao curiously, and the latter smiled customedly. Jing Rong walked out of the kitchen and said happily, I'm back. How was the college entrance examination? Su Mu replied, not bad. Jing Rong didn't ask any further questions, but just took Su Mu's hand and kept checking. Just come back safely. Just now the little Li from next door came back first and said that she didn't know what happened inside. He hid in a place with a group of people and waited until someone came to rescue him. Su Mu thought about it, and it should be an ordinary trainee who failed to get in touch with the parasites and was brought into the secret realm in a daze. He comforted. It's okay, everything is normal, don't worry. Jing Rong looked at Lang Junyao. Ah, this big girl looks really good. How can you bring someone home without pouring water? Go. Su Mu had no choice but to pour water. Lang Junyao looked anxious, but was stopped by his eyes. Jing Rong pulled Lang Junyao to sit down, and asked here and there, where is the girl from? What does it have to do with my little Mu? Your hands are so cold, do you want me to bring you some clothes? Lang Junyao was at a loss when asked. She was always a lone person, and she was not good at dealing with such occasions. But Jing Rong is Su Mu's mother, she dare not resist at all. Su Mu smoothed things over. Okay, I still have something to do. He winked. If you need to communicate with your family, just go. Lang Junyao breathed a sigh of relief and went outside to make a phone call. Su Mu comforted Jing Rong. Your son's grades are good, and you will enjoy happiness in the future. Jing Rong said with a smile, your safety is my greatest blessing. Quote. Su Mu suddenly thought, Anan, come here. Su Anan obediently pushed the wheelchair closer. Su Mu looked at her lower limbs, first through the penetration of spiritual power, and then through the eyes of nothingness, observing from the material world plus life world. Su Anan's lower limbs were paralyzed, and now it seemed that the bones, nerves, and tendons inside were damaged to varying degrees. And it has not recovered for many years, and it has gradually shrunk. Su Mu sighed. Anan, I'll treat you. He is not a doctor, but he can use his healing skills to directly refresh Su Anan's state, making his body full of vitality. Su Anan's eyes widened in surprise. Really? Big brother, how do you know how to heal skills? Su Mu smiled slightly. He would have been able to, but the primary healing technique can at most relieve fatigue. But first, his spirit is as high as 250,000, and his healing skills have also been strengthened to the master level, so anyone can do it. Don't worry. Su Mu raised her hand and began to read the blessings of all souls. He learned the two professions of warrior and priest, and merged to become a paladin. The Holy Knight's Holy Light blessing was enhanced by the Abyssal Sage's passive into an epic blessing of all souls. A complex ray of light spilled out, like thousands of demigods singing in the void, releasing soothing goodwill and blessings. Su Anan was pleasantly surprised, and felt that her body was 1,000 times lighter, like a feather, about to fly to the sky. And her lower limbs gradually regained feeling. The legs that have not moved all year round, the muscles are twitching a little bit, recovering their strength. Jing Rong looked at her son in shock, with complicated expressions in her eyes. Grow up, the child has grown up. She didn't know how powerful this spell was, only that the child learned to share for the family. Just as Jing Rong watched Su Mu cast the spell in relief, there was an angry shout from outside, stop. Boom. When Lang Junyao went out, the door that was half opened was suddenly pushed open, and a woman wearing glasses rushed in. Stop. Su Mu frowned slightly, but her hands didn't stop moving. Stop. Don't use healing spells, the glasses woman yelled, and she stretched out her hand to stop it. Swish. A cold hand grabbed her, and Lang Jun looked at her with a cold face. Don't get close to the master. The girl with glasses felt that her arm was frostbitten instantly, but she still said anxiously, don't cast spells, you are hurting her. Su Mu turned his head sideways, and the light in his hand slowly disappeared. What are you talking about? Release. The glasses woman struggled desperately, trying to break free from Lang Junyao's grasp. Su Mu nodded. Let her go. He didn't feel any malice, the anxiety was more like blaming him. Jing Rong already recognized, Dr. Hu Qian. Why are you here? Hu Qian glanced at her complainingly. How can you treat yourself? If you can rely on healing spells for any injury, what else do we doctors need? She hurriedly checked Su Anan's situation, and while checking, she complained, using spells indiscriminately, not to mention that injuries cannot be healed, and those damaged nerves will also grow indiscriminately. If there is congestion, hyperplasia, or tumor, it will even be stimulated, and it will devour healthy tissues in turn. Su Anan woke up from the warm feeling at this time, and she was also shocked. Dr. Hu, why are you here? Hu Qian glared at her, still talking. After you are discharged from the hospital, please pay attention to maintenance, don't treat yourself on your own, how do you remember it? Su Anan blushed and lowered her head. I feel quite comfortable, and my legs have strength now. Hu Qian sighed. I haven't checked you for a long time, so I came here today. Fortunately I have time. It was only then that Su Mu remembered that this Hu Qian was Su Anan's previous therapist and had given her a lot of care. But later, because the family's funds were tight, and the continued treatment required huge surgical fees, he had no choice but to be discharged from the hospital. Later, Hu Qian also visited her home several times, but Su Mu was busy practicing skills and rarely saw each other. After checking, Hu Qian was suddenly surprised and said, "Why is this happening?" "There is no problem at all, the nerves in the legs are growing well, and the tangled tendons are also relaxed." Lang Junyao snorted proudly. "It doesn't matter who the master is." Ahem. Wang Jiao Jiao, Su Mu quickly interrupted her. Hu Qian couldn't believe it, and checked it again. Su Anan's condition is really good, many times better than the last inspection. The tissues in both legs have regained their vitality. According to this trend, the risk of surgery is extremely low, and the probability of recovery is very high. Hu Qian turned her head in shock. "Yes, it's your magician just now." Su Mu spread her hands, and said honestly, "I am also a blind cat and a dead mouse. The treatment is up to your doctor." Hu Qian was shocked in her heart. She has practiced medicine for many years, so she naturally knew how bad Su Anan was before. Either spend tens of millions and barely be able to stand on crutches, or just sit in a wheelchair all your life, don't think about free movement. But after Su Anan's big brother used a certain healing method, her condition improved several times. What a powerful skill this is. While Hu Qian was still in shock, someone knocked on the door suddenly. "Excuse me, is this Mr. Su Mu's home?" Su Mu raised her chin, and Lang Junyao ran to open the door. At the door, stood a man with a big belly. They didn't know Su Mu, but Hu Qian looked surprised. "Dean Lin, why are you two here?" When Dean Lin saw Hu Qian, he was also surprised. "Little Hu, why are you here?" Hu Qian stepped aside and revealed Su Anan. "Anan is my former patient, and the hospitalization fee was not enough before, so I had to go home." Dean Lin hurriedly raised his hand to stop him. "Oh, that's why I came here today." He walked up to Su Mu and took off his hat. "You must be Su Mu. You are really a good-looking talent, tall and handsome. My humble servant is the director of the number 1 hospital in Guangxi, and my surname is Lin. I happen to know about your family today from Minister Chen. I heard that your sister's health, it's not convenient for activities." Su Mu nodded. It's not a secret. Most of his classmates knew that Su Anan's legs were disabled. Dean Lin said with a smile, "How can our outstanding students in the deserted city be dragged down by this?" "Don't worry, I have already arranged the best treatment resources. Not only the excellent doctors in Guangxi consulted, but also invited high-level professionals from Longdu, Modu, and Shandu to discuss the treatment plan together." Su Mu was not surprised by this scene, and nodded slightly. "Thank you, Dean Lin." Dean Lin dares to accept thanks. The other party is the champion of the league this time. Talents like will definitely become the god of war, and god of killing on the front line in the future, and will have a very high status in the entire Yan League. He can have a therapeutic contact now, and maybe the whole family will be shaded in the future. Moreover, Dean Lin was not aware of the parasitic race's invasion of the trial. After many students came out, they were immediately warned or signed a confidentiality contract, so that the matter did not escalate. If he knew that Su Mu is still a quasi-alliance hero, he would probably be scared to pee on the spot. Dean Lin said, "Because Ms. Su's condition is special, we also want to include the symptoms in the medical record. So this time the medical expenses will be covered by the hospital, and when there are new discoveries, the hospital will also be willing to give you the proceeds." Su Mu listened to his fawning overtly and secretly, and smiled slightly. "Okay." Dean Lin was afraid that the other party would not accept the kindness, so he hurriedly said, "Who is that? Xiao Hu? Ah no, Director Hu, this Ms. Su is still in charge of the bed, so you must take care of it." Hu Qian looked surprised. "What? Director Hu?" Dean Lin said with a look of resentment. "You are now the director of the general department of our number 1 hospital in the deserted city. Now you only have one task, which is to take good care of Mr. Su's younger sister. Is there a problem?" Hu Qian was already dazed and could only shake her head. No problem." Dean Lin heaved a sigh of relief. secretly rejoicing in his heart, the file is so beautiful. Although Su Anon had no money for treatment and was discharged from the hospital, she has been tracking her condition and often visited her home to help her recover. This can bring the relationship between the hospital and Su Mu closer. Su Mu knew that the other party was showing favors, so she also smiled. Thank you Dean Lin for taking care of me, why don't we have a meal together? Dean Lin couldn't really believe it, and smiled quickly. It's no big deal, the hospital has an appointment with a specialist, and I have to go back to arrange a consultation, so don't bother me. Well, I'll send a car to pick up Miss Su tomorrow, and if it's convenient for you, come along. Su Mu nodded. Definitely. Dean Lin pulled the stunned Hu Qian out, and gave her a slightly jealous look. You are blessed. Confused, he didn't understand the situation at all. Dean Lin sighed. Of course he didn't dare to do bad things, that is the benefactor of the future god of war sister. You have the support of noble people, and your future achievements will definitely be higher than mine. When the time comes, don't forget. Hu Qian was so dizzy that she could only nod her head. But she was also happy that Su Anon's leg was in much better condition, and the probability of recovery was very high. She also hopes that this beautiful and lovely girl can stand up again. After seeing off the guests, he went to Su Mu. Are you hiding something from me? Su Mu played dumb. I don't know. Jing Rong said. Why is Dean Lin so enthusiastic? It's free. Did you do something secretly? Su Mu spread her hands. I don't know. Jing Rong reached out to grab Lang Junyao, looked at her dignified appearance, wiped off her apron, stood up straight and said, Miss Lang, what do you think? Lang Junyao looked at Su Mu innocently. Without him speaking, she dared not say anything. I don't know either. Seeing that her mother still wanted to ask, Su Mu quickly grabbed her. Okay, and Anne's leg can be healed. Are you going to push it away? Jing Rong didn't dare to say CADG words. Su Anon looked forward to it. Can I really stand up again? Su Mu touched her head. Absolutely. The family chatted for a while. Jing Rong made dinner, and said nothing to ask Lang Junyao to help. After eating, each took a bath and went to bed. After both Su Mu and Su Mei entered the room, Lang Junyao entered Su Mu's room from the guest room. Master. Su Mu nodded. Go ahead. Lang Junyao was a little hard to speak. I told my father about the situation at that time, and expressed my willingness to follow you. Su Mu. And then? Lang Junyao said. He is going to visit the deserted city. Su Mu said indifferently. Come on. Lang Junyao said anxiously in a rare way. My father, he has a very domineering personality, I'm afraid. Su Mu raised a finger. I said, if you want to go back, I can let you go at any time. But if you want to stay here, someone wants to force you to go back. He stood up, and his clothes were windless. No one can do it. Lang Junyao looked at Su Mu, momentarily bewildered. After a while, she nodded. Thank you, master. Su Mu hummed. Okay, go to sleep. Nothing to say all night. Early the next morning, Su Mu was woken up by Jing Rong's knock on the door. Wake up. Sleeping late all day, I'm useless. Su Mu. I just finished the college entrance examination yesterday, can't you let me sleep late? Parents really look forward to it when they are not at home, but hate it when they come home. No way, he got up. As soon as he went out, he saw Jing Rong's face full of joy. What's so happy about it? Su Mu looked into her expectant eyes and asked the question proactively. Jing Rong took a picture of the phone. Haha, we're lucky. The noodle stall said that a new commercial center will be built and rented for free to the merchants who originally set up the stall. In the future, there will be no wind and rain, and you can do business indoors. Su Mu doesn't have to think about it. There must be some people who know that he won the first prize in the league and are trying their best to please him. Building a commercial center just to give Jing Rong a reasonable gift is considered a big deal. He yawned. Mom, in fact, you don't need to do business. Jing Rong rolled his eyes at him. If you don't do business, what will you do to support your family? Su Mu. I will support you. Jing Rong snorted. Are you rich? Su Mu really has no money now. Not now, but soon. Jing Rong shook her head. No, money is water, and we need to increase revenue and reduce expenditure. If you don't work, you can't do it, and your bones will soon collapse. Su Mu didn't insist either. If the older generation can't take it easy, she can just do it. Anyway, there will be money soon, do what you want to do, hire someone to help you if you don't want to do it, and be a hands-off elder. Jing Rong excitedly said, did you know? I heard that Wangxi is about to start a project, so they used rock and steel professionals and said that it will be built within 3 days. With only 3 days off, we can have a store. Su Mu let out a casual "oh," and was immediately dissatisfied. While Jing Rong was babbling about her lessons, there was a burst of lively jubilation outside. Jing big sister, come out quickly. There is a good show to watch. Jing Rong also stuck her head out of the window when she heard the neighbors shout, Aunt Lan, what are you looking at? Aunt Lan stood downstairs, pointing to the door, look, there's excitement. There are a lot of cars outside, surrounded by a lot of people. Jing Rong looked up and saw dozens of luxury cars parked at the gate of the community. Hundreds of people got on and off the luxury car, and then 2 handsome and tall professionals walked towards the community carrying a heavy plaque. In the community, neighbors who eat melons are already standing in 2 rows, their eyes full of excitement. What's going on? Why is there such a big battle? I heard that someone got good grades in the college entrance examination. What's the grade? And a plaque. Look, it's uncovered. The 2 professionals lifted the curtain methodically, revealing the words on it. Number 1 and no. 1. The surroundings became quiet for a while, and everyone's eyes widened, staring at the plaque. This is number 1. Those who can become the champion will be able to become a big boss in the future. Even if you are just doing clerical work, you must be the best. Our community is very lucky. This year's number 1 in the Baron Market fell to us. Yeah, I just don't know which kid it is, so lucky. Be sure to pay a good visit when you come back. Everyone talked a lot, with jealousy and complacency on their faces. It is also a great honor for them to live in the same community as Zhuangyuanlang. At this time, a person hurried over. He was a relative of a certain manager of the deserted city, and he had already asked about the inside story. He grabbed an old man, his eyes widened, and he exclaimed excitedly, I got it. It's not the champion of the deserted market. The old man hurriedly pushed him away. I'm not the champion, why are you pinching me? The man took a breath and almost roared. It's not the number 1 in the deserted city, but the number 1 in the All Yan League. The number 1 scholar this year is in our community. Wow, the crowd suddenly started talking in amazement, really? Number 1 in the league. The number 1 scholar, in our community. Oh my god, if he is number 1 in the entire league, he will definitely go to the outer battlefield in the future, and he will become a general. What is a general? Every year's top pick can all be judged as the god of war outside the territory. What is the god of war outside the territory? You don't understand, but you are a first-class big shot anyway. Even the management of the deserted city, you have to bow your head when you see it. Wow, whose child is this? He has a long face. Let's all follow suit. The old man hurriedly put the man's hand on his shoulder. Pinch, pinch hard, see if I am having a good dream today, old man. Looking at the professionals and the dozens of followers behind them, everyone in every community feels extremely proud. This year Yanmeng champion is at our house. But someone recognized the people who followed behind the plaque, and they were all shocked. Is that the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs? My God, such a big man is here. Look at the Deputy Minister, that's the Minister Chen Kai, you can only follow carefully. Minister of War Wu Zeki is also here. You see, those standing outside are all elite soldiers. I heard that everyone is above level 100. Level 100, I'm afraid one person can kill our community. Shish, what are you talking about on a happy day? Look, there are 40 people standing here. What a big show. Look over there, the president of the Bounty Hunters Guild is here too. There are also business hunting groups, aren't they fighting with the Bounty Guild? In front of the number 1 scholar, who dares not to come. Envy, there is no one else with this momentum. Whose family's child is it? It's a glorious ancestor. Upstairs, Su Anon also heard the voice outside, and hurriedly pushed the wheelchair out of the room. Brother, what's the matter? Su Anon reached the bedside and tried to look down, but couldn't reach it. Su Mu smiled and picked her up. It's nothing, just a little fun. Su Anon was greedy. Brother, take me down, I want to play too. She has limited mobility, and there is no elevator in the residential building, so going downstairs is simply a luxury. Su Mu thought for a while, the excitement will come later. Su Anon looked at the crowd who were still far away, gagged and unhappy. Su Mu just smiled and didn't explain. Jing Rong wiped her hands on the apron, eyes full of envy. It seems to be talking about the champion. Is our community out of order? Su Anon nodded. Yes, the plaque says, number. Wow, it's so lively. Big brother is bad, don't let me go out to play. Jing Rong glared at her. There are many people outside, so it's right not to go. We don't have that blessing, and it's useless to go there. What should we do if we squeeze you out? Well, if I can touch it, no, I'll be content with just looking at that plaque. Su Mu chuckled. I'll ask them to bring the plaque over later so you can touch it. Jing Rong said unhappily. You have that ability, your father and I will be happy. Look, they're walking towards our building. They seem to be from our building. Several people saw that the celebration team was getting closer and closer, and they had already reached the downstairs. The noise broke in from the window. It was very lively and full of festiveness. Su Anon screamed in surprise. They have entered the building. The champion is in our building. She hammered Su Mu's chest with her little pink fist, and said excitedly, Brother. The champion lives in the same building as us. The crowd entered the building, and the family became more and more excited. Su Mu said, Mom, open the door. Jing Rong froze for a second, then nodded. Yes, it's good to take a closer look. She opened the door, and together with Su Anon, stood guard at the door excitedly. It's a joy to be able to look at the plaque. Despair. 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 The footsteps were getting closer, closer. Everyone's mood became more and more excited, and they couldn't help but clench their fists. Finally, a professional showed his head in the corridor. Two tall professionals dressed in neat attire solemnly carried the plaque, and the small corridor came up. Great. Jing Rong and Su Anon stood guard at the door, ready to take a serious look when someone passed by. And the two professionals did not live up to expectations, and indeed appeared at the door. Jing Rong's eye looked at the plaque carefully, and sighed in his heart, it would be great if this plaque could be in our house. She read it a few more times, and the more she read it, the more she felt that the golden font was full of artistic conception. Until the two professionals stood a little embarrassed, one of them couldn't help but said, Mother of the champion, do you see this plaque? Is it hanging outside or inside the house? Jing Rong, Su Anon. They froze in place, completely unresponsive. Fortunately, at this time, Chen Kai showed his head in the narrow corridor and shouted, Of course it's a doctor. There is not enough space now, let's carry it in first. Wait for us to expand. After finishing speaking, he looked at Su Mu who was standing behind Jing Rong again. Zhuangyuan Lang, is it okay? Su Mu waved his hand, come in. Jing Rong avoided it subconsciously, and the professional carried the plaque and entered the house. But now, the congratulations from the neighbors came like a tsunami. Jing big sister, your family has fallen to the stars. It's obviously a martial arts star. Xiao Jing, I knew that your Su Mu is not a mortal. Look, the champion of the league. Congratulations, big sister Jing, you've made a fortune. Su Mu is now the #1 big shot in our community. Follow you, and we'll all be stained. Seeing the endless congratulations, Jing Rong didn't react at all, and just smiled instinctively. Listening to those passionate words, a tear fell from the corner of her eyes. See, our eldest son is promising. Chapter 81. The sound of blessings continued, and everyone had festive smiles on their faces, clapping their hands and saying auspicious words. Congratulations, lucky stars from heaven. Jing big sister, good luck. I see that you are quite plump, and there is light between your brows. You must have great blessings. Sure enough, haha. Don't worry about the rest of your life. Jing Rong kept clasping her hands together, bowing back, smiling from ear to ear. Every neighbor came to congratulate her, wishing she could say a few more words and show her face in front of the #1 scholar. Whether it's a neighbor who had a good relationship before or someone who was not easy to deal with, now I can't wait to put a smile on my face and give her a good impression no matter what. Jing Rong felt a surge of happiness and pride from the bottom of her heart. Her family has become the #1 scholar. Brother, you are really the #1 scholar. Su Anon was sitting in a wheelchair, her face full of disbelief. Her eyes glowed with surprise, and she covered her mouth. 427 was so excited that it was hard to hold back. Su Mu smiled and nodded. Yes. Yeah. Su Anon hammered Su Emu's back with her small fist. My big brother is the champion, he, my big brother is the champion of the league. She took out her mobile phone and wanted to post this good thing to Moments. But the speed of those little sisters was even faster, and countless words of blessing had already been issued. Anon, I heard that your big brother is the champion. My uncle lives in your community and told me just now, is it true? Anon, congratulations. I'm downstairs at your house, your brother is so handsome. Can you take a group photo for me? And the old classmates who didn't have a good relationship before also sent messages enthusiastically. Anon, I was wrong in the past. I shouldn't have robbed you. Now that I think about it, I was indeed wrong. I don't know if you are free. I want to treat you to a meal. Anon, I haven't contacted you for a long time, do you have time to have a meeting? Student Su Anon. Beside the door, a person stepped forward, first bowed slightly in the direction of Su Mu, and then held Jing Rong's hand. Mother of the champion, congratulations, your son has given Mayor Huang a face this time. Number 1 in the league. I'm Chen Kai, Minister of Internal Affairs. On behalf of Guangxi and the Ministry of Internal Affairs, I'm presenting an award to your family. He took out a huge red envelope with 10 million yuan written on it. Jing Rong was frightened immediately. She had never seen so much money before. She waved her hands repeatedly. No, no. Oh, Chen Kai hurriedly stuffed the red envelope into Jing Rong's hand. This is an arrangement from above. If you don't accept it, we will be punished. And, he whispered, in the future, the money your family Su Mu will earn will be much more than this. Jing Rong was a little apprehensive. She was confused by what he said, so she could only accept it. Chen Kai shook hands with Su Mu again, and said a few words enthusiastically. Su Mu, the official can't give too much cash, it's not good looking. Don't worry, the matter of killing the secret realm has been brought up, and the higher-ups are very interested. In the future, you will earn hundreds and thousands of times more than now. Su Mu nodded. Thank you Minister Chen. You won the first prize, so I should thank you. Chen Kai smiled all over his face. His district was ranked first in the league, and he will definitely be promoted. At this time, another person stepped forward, also slightly bowed to Su Mu, and held Jing Rong's hand. Hello, Ms. Jing Rong, I am Sengjiqi, Minister of War in Guangxi. Only on behalf of the War Department of Yanmang, award this year's champion. As he spoke, he took out an exquisite command sword and was about to give it to Su Mu. Chen Kai hurriedly blocked it, with a face full of blame. You old Wu, you don't know how to do things at all, give it to our champion mother. The officials who followed all complained that Chen Kai was an old fox. Su Emu's future honors will only increase and never decrease, and there will be no shortage of one-time awards from the Ministry of War. If it is given to Jing Rong, she will be happy, and so will Su Mu. Wu Zeki was kind and respectful, and handed the sword to Jing Rong respectfully. Please accept it. Jing Rong took the sword tremblingly. Her hands were trembling, but her heart was extremely happy. Ahem. Chen Kai saw her holding the sword in a daze, cleared his throat. Open it and see. The only sharp weapon Jing Rong took was the kitchen knife, and she carefully drew out the commanding sword. Swish. Whether it is a combat professional who knows how to do it or a passerby who doesn't know how to do it, they all expressed their admiration. Beautiful. The sword body glowing with silver light, and the hilt inlaid with rubies and sapphires all tried their best to express the preciousness of this sword. Jing Rong looked at it for a while, but still didn't dare to give Su Yang the weapon. Ding. Acquired a new title. War Leader Not Worn. The moment Su Mu got the sword, he heard a prompt. Oh, there is also a surprise, a title. He glanced at the panel, but fortunately the scene was noisy and no one paid attention. Fighting for the leader. The morale of surrounding teammates is increased by 50%, the pain is reduced by 30%, the damage is increased by 10%, and the damage received is reduced by 10%. Need to wear a command sword. Su Mu directly ignored the last sentence. Originally, this title needs to be obtained by holding a command sword, but holding a fancy weapon on the battlefield will greatly reduce the combat effectiveness. Unless dual wielding, otherwise very tasteless. But Su Mu can keep the title permanently, and can make the title effective without holding a weapon. The moment the title was worn, everyone around felt their expressions lifted. I don't know why, but anyway, the mood has improved again. Afterwards, all the high-level executives in the barren city showed up one after another, those in charge of municipal administration, those in charge of secret realms, those in charge of infrastructure, and those in charge of education. There are also Su Mu's principal and class teacher, who are also honored. All respectfully paid respects to this ordinary middle-aged woman. They all gave gifts, which looked inconspicuous, just some decorations, calligraphy and paintings, bracelets, amulets and the like. Even from the perspective of workmanship, the value will not exceed 100,000. It seems that both parties have nothing to do with profit. But Su Mu could tell that there was a lot to be said here. For example, the bracelet given by the director in charge of education is enchanted with several magics such as physical fitness, continuous recovery, and energy expansion. Wearing it doesn't mean prolonging your life, at least you can be healthy. And those decorations also have various buff effects. It can't be seen in a short time, but it can also improve your physical fitness over time. Things are worthless, but with magic, they are much more expensive. Su Mu estimates that these things add up to hundreds of millions of dollars. Jing Rong was so happy that she couldn't close her mouth from ear to ear, her smile lines were wrinkled a few more times. Jing, big sister, I'm so happy today, why don't you let us have a good time? A neighbor shouted standing on the stairs. Yes, yes, Aunt Jing, let your number one scholar take a photo with people from our community. A middle-aged woman said with a smile. Yeah, let's hang it on the wall in the future and tell that kid who doesn't live up to expectations to learn from Su Mu. A group of people laughed and laughed. Chen Kai and Su Mu looked at each other, and after getting the consent of the other party, they opened their hands and said in a low voice, everyone be quiet. Our Zhuangyuan Lang has already prepared, and has already made an appointment for the chef of Tiandinglu, and I will invite you to dinner in a while. We have a lot of people, and we are all friendly neighbors, so we just set up a table in the square of the community, and let's have a feast of hundreds of families. The crowd was full of enthusiasm. Of course, Baijia banquet, yes. I heard that 300 years ago, when the Wanzhou didn't invade, even the champions in the exam had to invite the villagers to dinner. After eating the top prize, my son will be able to get into a good university next year. Soon, a banquet was set up in the community. The staff of Tianding building kept walking, bringing their own tables and chairs, as well as flower pots, red carpets, colored strips, and balloon decorations. In just 10 minutes, the community was arranged into a festive event site. The dishes are exquisite and delicious, and everyone is full of praise. Anan, that's your brother. He's so handsome, number one in the league. Not to mention becoming a god, at least it is at the lord level and holy level. Wow, isn't that a person can own a world? So romantic. I also hope that my future husband will have a world of flowers, full of lavender. Wow, just thinking about it makes my eyes wet. A group of little sisters chattered around Su Anan, praising and flattering her, which made her very unhappy. In particular, the community is semi-blocked and no outsiders are allowed to enter. And she just asked a tentative question, and the administrator of the security team immediately greeted her warmly, and sent a luxury car to pick up the little sisters one by one for the banquet. This made Su Anan's vanity burst, and she froze in front of her sisters. She looked to the other side. All this is because of the amazing big brother. There were people making toasts to Su Mu all the time, and he always drank all of them. 20. As long as the group of level 100 professionals and professionals who specialize in drinking do not play, Su Mu can drink to the whole community by himself. Leng Junyao was also given 2 glasses of wine, and then she felt that she should not appear on this occasion, so she quietly hid. Seeing her mother happy, Su Mu couldn't help giving Chen Kai a high look. This person is quite good at coming, compared to going to a big hotel, a few managements or talking empty words. In this familiar atmosphere, Jing Rong was even happier. Someone also offered a toast to Jing Rong, and Su Mu persuaded her, but the other party just gave him a look. Happy life, so what if you drink some? Luan Yuan, the president of the business hunting group, approached with a smile, and handed Su Mu a jade pendant, to hang over. Su Mu raised her eyebrows. There is such an enchantment. He checked the panel, and it turned out that the alcohol volatilization speed was plus 300%, and the liver protection was plus 100%. Thanks. Su Mu turned around and hung the jade pendant on Jing Rong. Luan Yuangxi of the business hunting group smiled. It's a small matter, I'm old, so I'll call you a small one. Xiao Su, I heard that you have the ability to open doors in the killing realm. President Luan's news is really well informed. Su Mu didn't hide it, but Minister Chen asked me to talk to Yanmeng first. Luan Yuan nodded. Yes, of course Yanmeng is the main one. But Yanmeng can't do it by itself, the implementation still has to be outsourced. I just hope Xiao Su can see more of our business hunting group when the time comes. Rest assured, no matter what kind of cooperation we have, we will definitely do our best. Su Mu nodded. Okay. It's just a familiar face, there is no need to refuse. Soon, many people came up and gave some gifts overtly and secretly. Afterwards, the neighbors excitedly came up to ask for a group photo, and wanted to hang his photo above their children's bedside. This made Su Mu dumbfounded, but he had to do it. At the same time, outside the community, two ordinary pedestrians passed by. Non-community residents, no entry. The senior professional at the door raised his hand and stopped the two of them. The passerby glanced in surprise, then nodded repeatedly, yes, just passing by. The two left, walked to a dark corner, and suddenly puffed up their chests, and the momentum suddenly became thick and powerful. These are two powerful pros. The first person said, let the SSS grades be mixed up, I would have done it if I knew it. Another human said, that S-level talent is useless, a waste of opportunity. Now many eyes are staring at it, so I can't make a move. The first person said, wait, shoot when he is most relaxed. Another person said, yes. Do you have the feeling that someone is spying on you? The first person held a rune and shattered it. After a while, he said, no, there are no snoopers nearby. Another person said, that's good, prepare something, and we must destroy him. The two of them bent down again, their aura dropped sharply, and they turned back to ordinary pedestrians again. Moments after they left, an eyeball emitting a faint light appeared in the material world. It paused for a moment, then hidden into other planes. The 100 family banquet is still going on, and everyone is very happy. Jing Rong has a jade pendant to protect her body, but she is also drunk a lot. She pulled Su Mu, with mixed emotions in her eyes. Tomorrow, go to toast your father and talk to him about it. Su Mu nodded. Okay. Jing Rong was still about to say something, but suddenly there was an exclamation from the side, number 1 scholar. Your sister has fainted. Su Mu was startled, her figure disappeared in an instant, and appeared beside Su Anan. The little sisters next to her were at a loss, screaming and shaking Su Anan in the wheelchair. Get out of the way. Su Mu sneaked into the crowd like a ghost, and immediately picked up her sister. He had a pulse, jittery, but still beating. The aura on Su Anan's body was mixed, but full of vitality. How so? While Su Mu was hesitating, Minister of War Wu Zeki had already driven a military vehicle into the community. Get in the car and go to the hospital. Su Mu's combat power is strong, but the treatment can only refresh the life value. If you really encounter a family member fainting, you still have to listen to the doctor. Take care of my mother. He jumped into the car with Su Anan without saying a word. Wu Zheqi stepped on the accelerator to the bottom, and in less than 3 minutes, he drove more than 10 kilometers and arrived at the number 1 hospital in Huangshi. A group of experts and senior therapists were already guarding the door, took Su Anan and pushed them in. Wu Zheqi jumped out of the car and said loudly, treatment of the highest standard. Dean Lin wiped off his cold sweat. Of course, I'm ready. He didn't understand. The girl was not well yesterday, why did she pass out? Su Mu wanted to follow up in the treatment room, but was blocked outside. Hu Qian said, Brother Anan, I know you are anxious, but you are not a healer, so you will make doctors nervous. Su Mu had no choice but to endure the anxiety in her heart and wait. And at this time, Chen Kai also came with Jing Rong, and asked as soon as he entered the door, what's the situation now? Ding! The door of the treatment room was pushed open, and a group of experts pushed Su Anan out. Everyone looked nervous, waiting for the trial. An expert took off his mask and smiled. It's okay, don't worry. Call. The hearts of the people were a little more relaxed. The expert said. Director Who's report yesterday said that someone used advanced healing skills on Miss Sue. Su Mu raised her hand. It's me, the skill is blessing of all souls. The expert nodded. That's right, your sister is only 15 years old, she hasn't awakened yet, and her talent hasn't been revealed yet. Your skills stimulated her, inspired her talent to continue to grow, and led to a lack of vitality, which led to her downfall. It's okay, add some life essence, and I'll wake up in a while. A group of people breathed a sigh of relief. Su Mu said, talent still stimulates continued growth. The expert nodded. Yes, but this matter is still in the research stage, and there is no conclusion. If conditions allow, we can get some high-grade medicinal materials and medicines, which can help her awaken better talents to a certain extent. Su Mu's eyes lit up. Can you really improve your talent? Su Mu was overjoyed. If his younger sister can also awaken a powerful talent, he can rest assured of his family. Moreover, high-end drugs can always be obtained as long as they are willing to spend money and energy. The expert nodded, hesitated for a moment, and said, it's best to get the world's wonders. Wonderful things in the world. Su Mu had never heard of this word. The expert said, the wonders of the world are quite special, and they are not in the rank C of ordinary items. There is no complete model for enhancement talents, but according to records, using world wonders is more effective for enhancement talents. At this time, the headmaster Dao Yingqi also said, the missing Pan Xian, his family has a legend. Su Mu said, I see, can I buy it? The expert was a little embarrassed and didn't speak. Chen Kaidao, Minister of Internal Affairs, it's a bit difficult, the market price is more than 10 billion, every family and big power want to own it, and there is no market for the price. But Su Mu, don't worry, I'll ask on the internal network, maybe I can find it. As soon as Su Mu heard this, she knew that it was not easy to get her hands on this matter directly, but she also nodded, thank you, Minister Chen. The expert said with a smile at this time, no hurry, Miss Su is only 15 years old, and there are 3 years before she wakes up. Take time, if you can get the world's wonders within a year and a half, and spend another year and a half to absorb and get familiar with it, you should be able to get a good talent. Su Mu nodded. From this point of view, the time is neither long nor short. He rose from a level 10 little transparent to level 120 in 7 days. But strange objects are very precious, and there must be differences in attributes. Within a year and a half, we must get the one that suits Su Anon the most. The matter in the hospital came to an end, and it was still the original Hu Qian who helped manage the bed. Su Anon was injected with life essence, and she woke up soon, with a confused face, what's wrong with me? Su Mu touched her head, it's okay. Hu Qian came over. Since you're here, let the experts consult and prepare to heal your legs. Su Anon's eyes lit up suddenly, really? Su Mu smiled, of course. After that, they didn't go home again. Chen Kai had already arranged for someone to communicate with the neighbors, telling Su Anon that he was fine, but that he was about to wake up. They will also be jealous if Su Mu's grades are only a few points higher than the neighbors' children. But what he won was the champion of the league, and the neighbors were only envious and flattered. Hearing that Su Anon's talent might be enhanced, they cheered together, as happy as their own daughters. Many people also bought flowers and placed them in front of the building where the Su family lived to bless them. But it was quickly cleared by the elderly neighbor. Go, go, it looks like a memorial service. Su Anon participated in the consultation under the careful inquiry of the experts. As Hu Qian said, the result is very good. It was originally estimated that it would cost 30 million yuan to barely stand on crutches. But under the healing of the blessing of all souls, the condition of the body has improved a lot. Not only the cost has been reduced to 100,000, but also the ability to exercise can be fully restored. Su Anon was so excited that she couldn't help herself, jumping up and down on the wheelchair, trying to stand up. Anon is going to have surgery soon, so go see your dad while you're free today, Jing Rong said. Su Mu asked, and immediately borrowed Dean Lin's car. The family arrived at Changqing Cemetery and stood in front of Su Yun's grave. Old fool, look at my son, he is capable now. Jing Rong said calmly, as usual. Not only is he the champion of the Yan League this year, he also had the Minister of Internal Affairs and the Minister of War come to his house to congratulate him. The number 1 scholar and number 1 sign will be hung at the door of your house. If you come back, don't admit your mistake. She babbled a lot, and asked Su Mu and Su Anon to worship a stick of incense and leave from the cemetery. After getting in the car, Jing Rong looked out the window and remained silent for a long time. Su Anon wanted to hand over the tissue, but Su Mu grabbed her wrist and shook her head. Send Su Anon back to the hospital, she will have surgery tomorrow. When Su Mu and Jing Rong returned to the community, the neighbors on the road stood up and greeted each other, with a good attitude. When I got to the front of the building, I saw a group of people walking down. Chen Kai looked at Su Mu, and immediately pulled the person next to him. This is Director Zhou Wenkang of the Civil Engineering Department. Just right, Su Mu, we can choose the shape of the door when you arrive. Jing Rong was stunned. What? Zhou Wenkang greeted Su Mu upstairs with a smile on his face, and pointed to the door of his house. Su Zhuangyuan, you see how to change the door, whether it is wider or higher. I have several versions here, you can refer to them. He handed out the drawings he had prepared and asked Su Mu to choose. Jing Rong asked strangely, what is this for? Just this one. Su Mu pointed directly at a door model. Okay. Zhou Wenkang immediately greeted his subordinates, start work, that's it. 2 soil and rock professionals stepped out and directly manipulated the shape of the door frame. Soon, an old ordinary wall began to be carved with cloud patterns, full of charm. Jing Rong looked dumbfounded. It can still be like this. Zhou Wenkang directly opened the door of the neighbor on the opposite side under the pretext of starting the construction, and brought several people in. He showed a circle of decoration configuration of this room, whether it is walls, floors, furniture, rooms, all are new. Clean to perfection and sparkling. Zhou Wenkang took out a few more blueprints. Su Zhuangyuan, Wangxi wants to give you a house as a gift. Do you think it's better to get through here, or go to Yunding Mountain? The villas there are also good. Jing Rong didn't understand at all. What? Why get through? Su Mu asked, Mom, do you want to live here, or move out? Jing Rong immediately said, I live here, the neighbors all know each other, it's strange. Su Mu nodded towards Zhou Wenkang, it's here. Zhou Wenkang said, then I demolished the wall. Jing Rong immediately became alert. What, tearing down the wall? Su Mu said directly, move. Quote, Zhou Wenkang called 2 earth-type professionals and started casting spells directly. Immediately, on this floor, the walls between the 3 households began to shrink a little bit, and finally disappeared. These 3 houses have been connected together from the inside. The walls disappear, and the old furniture of Su Mu's house is in the same space as the new items, which immediately shows a sense of hierarchy. Zhou Wenkang regretted. We dare not tamper with your family's things. The 2 houses were just constructed ahead of schedule, the furniture was replaced with new ones, and all the places that could be decorated were high standard and elegant. Don't worry, we have given away a house of higher value to our neighbors. One of them likes this place, and we will also arrange to live in the vacant room downstairs. Su Mu nodded. If you have a heart, the old things at home have feelings, and we will deal with them. The Ministry of Civil Engineering also took great pains to let them choose whether to move to the villa. If they have affection for the neighborhood, they are unwilling to move away. Just bought the 2 neighboring households and directly changed them into large flats, improving the quality of life several grades. It's just that Jing Rong still looked confused. What? Why is my house so big? At this time, the outer door was also successfully widened. A majestic red wooden door stands Nuo Hao Jiao with a thick plaque on the top, the champion and the second. Even though he was inside the building, he looked mighty and domineering. The House of Champions is worthy of its name. After sending the Civil Engineering Department away, Su Mu persuaded Jing Rong for a long time, telling her that for Su Anon, she also needed a good environment, so she finally settled down with peace of mind. The next day, Su Anon's surgery went smoothly. Brother, doctor who said that I have 1 month left before I can stand up. Su Anon was lying on the hospital bed with an oxygen tube inserted, but she still couldn't restrain her excitement. Su Mu smiled. Okay, take care of it with peace of mind, don't move around now. What if I sprain my leg again and can't stand up again? Su Anon nodded sharply. I know. Brother, don't worry, I will become a professional in the future to protect you and Mom. Su Mu smiled and nodded, beside Jing Rong silently wiping her tears. Jingle bell. The phone rang and Su Mu answered the call. From the other end came the voice of Principal Dao Yingqi. Su Mu, 2 things, 1 good thing and 1 bad thing. The climax is approaching, and the Zhushuang plot is about to start. The next 3 days passed relatively peacefully. Su Anon was recovering slowly after the operation. Under the urging of the high-level therapist, her legs were smooth and white, without leaving any scars. It will take a while to walk. Su's mother, Jing Rong, went to see the store decoration excitedly. There were also professionals building a new shopping mall. The entire huge building seemed to grow from the ground, and the construction was fast. And Su Mu, after spending time with her family, began to practice meditation. The years of comprehension and absorption he obtained in the Star Spirit Pagoda have come to an end. I am becoming more and more familiar with various occupations and skill combinations. Su Mu only needs to sit cross-legged quietly, and in his mind, it is as if he has experienced thousands of people fighting and fighting, using thousands of skills to fight in person. Although the level of these people is not high, but the victory lies in the extremely large number. The abilities used are ever-changing and dazzling. Su Mu not only extracted the essence from these skills, but also engraved them into his fighting instinct. Also obtained the strength, power, speed, effect of different abilities. Now he can easily comprehend by analogy, and as long as he understands a little, he can command a team and play in astonishingly perfect coordination. There was a mysterious wave emanating from Su Mu's body, and the sleeves of her clothes were automatic without wind. He opened his eyes, and the eyes seemed to have gone through vicissitudes, and they were as pure as a newborn. Master, congratulations. Lang Junyao stood guard at the door, congratulating her quite excitedly. Su Mu nodded, opened the panel and took a look. His attributes have not improved, but some things cannot be directly displayed by numbers. Now even if there is a super genius of the same attribute in front of him, it may not be able to hurt even a single hair of Su Mu. His combat ability has changed by leaps and bounds again. I guess I can beat the 2 previous me. Su Mu clenched his fist. His strength remained the same, but his control over his body and skills was twice as proficient, as expected of 117 years of experience. Too strong. He was ecstatic in his heart, it was just the right time for him to break through. Jingle bell. The phone rang suddenly and Su Mu connected. Su Mu, it's almost time, come here. The Principal Dao Yingqi's voice came from the other end. Su Mu nodded. Okay. Dao Yingqi paused, and then said, today the Yanmeng awarded you the title of Alliance Hero, but the people from the Invention Academy are also here, and they may come up with some tricks, you have to be prepared. Su Mu replied, okay. Hearing his voice, Dao Yingqi felt uneasy, and told him, Sun Yusheng has been confirmed as a betrayer of mankind, but after all, you have slapped the Academy in the face, they will not let it go, you have to cheer up. Su Mu smiled. Don't worry, what can they do? Do they have the authority to cancel the awards? Dao Yingqi thought for a while. That's right, forget it, soldiers will come to block you, and water will come to cover you. Come to the auditorium. At this moment, Lang Junyao held a ceremonial robe in both hands, and stood beside her. It was specially prepared by Chen Kai, and the price is not expensive, several thousand yuan. But there is a saying in their system that it belongs to the type that cannot be worn below the level. Lang Junyao waited for Su Mu to put it on, and asked, do you want to tell the old lady? Su Mu shook her head. Go back and read the news. Lang Junyao hummed, and continued to help Su Mu put on her ceremonial robe. When the two went downstairs, there was already a car parked at the entrance of the corridor. All the way unimpeded, went straight to the auditorium of the deserted city. The Yanmeng's reward was issued, and as everyone expected, it was the title of Alliance Hero. The deserted city has invited a lot of prominent people, whether it is the person in charge of a big force or the head of a family, they have all been invited in place. When Su Mu got out of the car, she was greeted immediately. Congratulations, young hero, there will be a lot to do in the future. A good-looking talent, okay, really do my best for me. Congratulations, brother Su, the population. Shish, get out of the way, don't hand out business cards on this occasion. These characters all maintain social etiquette and polite smiles, but they don't try to obstruct them, just to make a good impression on Su Mu. Their news is better than those of Dean Lin, knowing that Su Mu single-handedly defeated the invasion of the parasites and saved thousands of candidates. This kind of talent will definitely enter the top universities for further study in the future, and gradually emerge on the stage of Wanji. If you are familiar now, it will definitely be useful in the future. But besides the big guys who were invited, there were also some uninvited guys. It's like asking the world, Su Mu, you are here. Dao Yingqi had been here for a long time, hugged Su Mu's shoulders, and laughed loudly. Look, this is my student, ha ha ha. The head teacher stood aside, rubbing his hands happily and nervously. On this occasion, he is not qualified to communicate with Su Mu. Principal, the old class just happens to be here, let's take a photo together. Su Mu walked up and enthusiastically grabbed the head teacher's shoulder. Dao Yingqi's eyes shined, this kid can be a man. Okay, of course, Su Mu. The homeroom teacher blushed with excitement and smiled ugly in front of the camera. An outstanding student never forgets his mentor, this matter is worth bragging about for a lifetime. After the group photo was finished, Dao Yingqi led Su Mu into the auditorium, and suddenly said calmly, front right, Feng Jiang, the examiner of the Wenxi Academy. Examiner, Su Mu asked. Well, he is the boss of Wenxiwan. Dao Yingqi explained, the one next to him is called Lu Yingren, you have to be careful. He and Sun Yusheng came from the deserted city together, and I heard that they have a good relationship, so they might try to play tricks on you. This time in the name of returning home, Minister Chen and the others can't stop it. Su Mu hummed and looked over there. Two seemingly ordinary people stood at the edge of the crowd, seeing Su Mu's eyes, they smiled, saluted, and looked friendly. Su Mu couldn't help smiling, and bowed to them as well. They come, the security. If you want to make a move, come on. The protagonist arrives at the scene, the award ceremony begins soon, and everyone is seated. A senior administrator from Longdu delivered an official speech and invited Su Mu to the stage. Heroes are born in youth, and it is precisely because of Su Mu's heroic resistance against the enemy that the future talents of the Yanmeng can leave safely. Su Mu glanced down. Both Lu Yingren and Feng Jiang were sitting on chairs, watching the ceremony very normally. Because some people are willing to sacrifice and others are willing to give, Yanmeng has a better future. Under the stage, it was still calm. Lu Yingren and Feng Jiang leaned comfortably, as if they were really just spectators. In recognition of Su Mu's heroic performance, Yanmeng decided to ding, dee, jingle bell. Under the stage, suddenly many mobile phones rang. Someone took out his mobile phone in a daze, and when he saw the screen, his face suddenly changed. The speaker was interrupted, somewhat dissatisfied. But he frowned, and continued to speak. Because, Yanmeng decided to award Su Mu the title of Hero of the Alliance as an encouragement. Any objections? The last sentence is just a convention, and the speaker himself did not plan to pause, and was about to continue. I have objections. A loud shout appeared in the venue. Su Mu turned her head to look, and couldn't help being slightly surprised. Feng Jiang and Lu Yingren were still sitting on the chairs, holding hands, without saying a word. And in another corner, a violent middle-aged bald man jumped out. I have objections. I'm Pan Dongji, I have objections. Su Mu killed my son Pan Zian, this kind of murderer does not deserve to be a hero of the Alliance. When Su Mu saw Pan Dongji, he was still a little surprised. How many years have passed since Pan Zian, yet he still has a relationship with him? Silence. The spokesperson frowned. If you have anything to do, please communicate in private. Now, I will present the Alliance Hero Badge to Su Mu. From now on, you will be protected by the Yan League. At the same time, you also need to protect the interests and dignity of human beings. In the outside world, you must. No, Pan Dongji roared, he is a murderer, he killed my son. He doesn't deserve it. At this moment, Su Mu had already grasped the Alliance Hero medal, and a warm current surged through his body. Ding! Title obtained. Alliance Hero not worn. Alliance Hero represents human forces, that is, time sword and shield. Coercion against humans plus 50%, pressure against aliens plus 30%. Human beings will subconsciously respect you, and when your interests are harmed, they will gain higher and higher psychological pressure. In the human territory, the damage is increased, and the value is determined by the distance from the human-centered world. Current bonus, 50%. In the alien field, the damage reduction is increased, and the value is determined by the distance from the human-centered world. Current bonus, 5%. Friendly humans around will get a halo bonus, and this effect will increase with the time the title is worn. Current bonus, plus 0.1% damage, plus 0.1% damage reduction, plus 0.1% efficiency, range of action, 0.5 meters. The surrounding friendly alien races will get stronger and stronger degrees of loyalty, and this effect will increase with the time the title is worn. Su Mu was slightly dumbfounded. This title is so strong that it defies the sky. Whether it's the combat bonus, the psychological pressure used for socializing, or the degree of loyalty to aliens, they are all so strong. If someone can obtain this title, they must wear it all the time, and it is almost unnecessary to take it off. However, the title of Alliance Hero is very rare, and it may not be possible to award one in 10 years. Every time the title is given, it is entrusted with the Yanmang's national operations in the heavens, which is also destined to be rare in number. And everyone who has won this title has become a big shot. Su Mu saved countless trial students and saved the future pillars of Yanmang. Yanmang also reciprocated, and returned with the fortune of the country. But Pan Dongji didn't understand. He just felt that he had simply handed in something. The ceremony was not completed, and he was still yelling, "A murderer is not worthy of being a hero." The spokesman sulked. "Guard, take him away." Several professionals were already waiting. As soon as they heard the order, they immediately stepped forward and surrounded Pan Dongji. "Murderer." Pan Dongji continued to push and push, but he couldn't shake the professional who crushed him with attributes. Just as he was about to be taken away, a middle-aged female voice said, "Don't worry." A feminine force spread out, and several professionals suddenly froze, unable to move. A middle-aged woman stood up and said in a hoarse voice, "I accuse Su Mu on stage of being a murderer. Not only did he kill his classmate Pan Xian, but also made this poor father cry and cry for nothing. Also in the Xingling Pagoda, kill my son Jai Tong, brutally dismember him, and burn him. This is a provocation and insult to my Jai family, and it will never be forgiven." The people around were all surprised. That's Jai Qin, the current head of the Jai family. Why did she come here? The visitor is not kind. I heard that Di Tong died in the Xingling Pagoda. He is a contemporary genius. This is to settle the score. Huo Tong's father is a married man, right? It's hard to find Huo Tong, who is considered a genius. I thought I could use this to climb to a higher position, but I didn't expect. The spokesman frowned. Jai Qin, do you know what you are doing? The Huo family wants to fight Yanmang. Jai Qin's face was frosty, and he said coldly, the Jai family is small, so of course they dare not disobey. But I want the whole world to know that the person on stage is a wolf-hearted, evil-doing person. This remark scolded the spokesperson, and he became even more angry immediately. Jai Qin said, "Everyone here should have received the information, why not express their opinions?" The spokesperson frowned and asked the nearest person to bring a mobile phone and read the information on the screen. Immediately, he also frowned. Several photos appeared on the screen, as well as surveillance cameras on the street. On the screen, Su Mu beat her classmate Pan Xian so hard that his nose was bruised and his face was swollen, and he even knocked out his servant in the street. Pan Xian begged bitterly, and finally he was able to carry his companion on his back, and left towards the side path. Not long after, Su Mu also followed. Pan Dongji has already fallen into a rage, almost yelling, "Su Mu was just an ordinary student before, all the grades are average. His attribute is only in the early 20s, Song got a C-level talent. How could it be possible to win the champion of the league after a few days? Look, he followed my son into the alley, and then my son and his friend disappeared. Su Mu must have used some means to steal my son's S-level talent, so that he can shine in the college entrance examination. This honor, which should belong to my son, was taken away by this murderer, thief, and bandit. Give me back. Gong. Dao. When the people at the scene heard this, hesitation also appeared in their hearts. Judging from the current evidence, it is true that Su Emu's behavior is very suspicious. Moreover, before Pan Xian disappeared, he had always been an ordinary person. Exactly after that day, there was a huge change suddenly, and he even won the top spot. The spokesperson put down his phone and looked at Su Mu. I believe you, but please tell everyone, you followed Pan Xian, what happened next? Su Mu shook her head. I didn't follow Pan Xian. After he left, I helped my mother clean up the noodle stall and took the garbage to the trash can in the alley. When these words came out, the expressions of the audience were very strange. 0. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Compared with the well-documented photos and surveillance, this reason is too simple and not convincing at all. Pan Dongji yelled again. Besides, Su Mu has been behaving strangely for a few days since then. On the screens of the mobile phones of the people present, there was a picture of Su Mu being photographed by school and street surveillance in the next few days. He does strange things, feeds strange animals, tends flower gardens, does handicrafts, mops the floor, helps in the kitchen. I have reason to believe that he did these things either to deceive others, or to dispose of my son's body. You murderer, speak to me. Criminal, where is my son's body? The spokesperson looked at Su Mu. Is it true? Su Mu shook her head. No. The spokesman snorted. Su Mu said he didn't do it, please find better evidence before making an inquiry. Pan Dongji was taken aback, how dare the other party openly sideline? But at this time, Jai Go said coldly, everyone please watch again, and my son. On the screen, members of the Jai family entered the trial continent and took away Jai Tong's body. The corpses were violently decomposed and burned into coke. Jai Qin said, I believe this Mr. Pan. Su Mu was just an ordinary person before, how could his strength improve by leaps and bounds? I deeply suspect that he was controlled by the parasites long before he entered the trial's secret realm. He was in the Xingling Pagoda, and my son Jai Tong discovered him, so he killed him and killed him. He's not only a murderer, but a traitor to humanity. I demand that the title of hero cease to be awarded to him, and kill him on the spot. The scene was silent, and everyone looked at each other in blank dismay. This Jai family came aggressively, with a tough attitude. That's right, Su Yingxiang, your rise is too strange, there must be a ghost. A spectator said with a strange air. Su Mu looked at him and asked politely, excuse me. The man suddenly stopped breathing and felt an invisible pressure permeating the air. When the heroes of the alliance play a role, the human race will subconsciously show respect to Su Mu, and the psychological pressure will increase by 50%. But thinking about the previous promise, he still insisted, Zhongbei Sen's family, Sen Wei. Su Mu nodded. Okay, I've made a note. Anyone else have any comments? Another audience member stood up. Su Mu, it's not that we suspect, but you can defeat hundreds of levels of parasites by yourself, no matter how you think about it, it's strange. I suggest that you sign a soul contract, once you betray, you will die immediately. His words seem to be pertinent, but they are full of unreasonable. Su Mu also smiled and said, what's your surname? The man patted his chest. Nane, Pang Heng, if you have anything to do, just come to me, I will be afraid of you young man. Su Mu nodded. Write it down, is there any more? Two more people from stood up. Donghu City, Lin Zan. Su Mu, why don't you disclose the skills and equipment you have acquired so that everyone can see them? Look, you can convince the public, right? Zhang Lushi, Lu Gaofei. Alliance hero, I am not targeting you, but everyone has doubts. Why did you kill your classmate and kill the young master of the Huo family? As human beings, you shouldn't be so violent. You still take the initiative to return the title. After 10 years, if you grow up, my Lu family will apply for you again. Su Mu nodded without being impatient. Okay, thank you for your comments, I will take note of them. Pang Heng sneered. HMPH, a brat, is it useful to hold grudges? Sen Wei said. Hee, aren't you afraid that 10 years will not be too late for revenge? Lin Zan said. If you offend the Jai family and ask the World Academy, he will not live for 10 years, I'm afraid he won't be able to make it through today. Pan Dongji saw more and more people standing up to oppose, and he was full of confidence. Su Mu, you must give an explanation today. I demand that Su Mu be imprisoned until my son's body is found. HMPH. The spokesperson snorted coldly, enough. The scene was silent for a moment, and everyone shut their mouths. The spokesperson looked around and said coldly, these are just circumstantial evidence, and cannot prove that Su Mu has a different intention. All arguments stop here, otherwise. Otherwise what? Lu Yingren from Wenxi Academy stood up with a weird smile on his face. This is how the Yanmang does things, so no one will doubt it. Just as the spokesman was about to speak, he saw Feng Jiang staring at Lu Yingren behind him with a half-smile. This is behind the push of Advent Institute. The spokesperson is a senior administrator of Yanmang, but he is still a little lower than the boss of Wenxi Academy. He dares to ban those aristocratic families, but he can't say harsh words to the Wenxi Academy. The above game and battle are involved in the middle, and he can't make the decision alone. The spokesperson was silent, but Lu Yingren's face became more and more complacent. Su Mu's behavior is indeed weird, I suggest a thorough investigation of him. As Mr. Pan, Patriarch Jai said, he suddenly rose strongly, showing strength that does not belong to him. When he was still leaving the trial secret realm, he immediately attacked the special envoy of the Adventist Academy. Chen Kai, the Minister of Internal Affairs of the Huangxi city, stood up suddenly, I testify. Sun Yusheng, the special envoy of the Wenshan Institute, is a spy of the Ghost Clan. During the interrogation, he triggered the memory restraint and burned himself to death. Lu Yingren looked at him with a sinister smile. You saw the flames of the Ghost Clan, did you see clearly who set the fire? This. Chen Kai fell silent. Lu Yingren said, I received an explanation from the scene that Su Mu not only attacked the special envoy of the Academy of Invention, but also tamed him on the spot. This is an attack and insult to the Academy of Adventism. It is enough to kill you 10 times. 10 times. And, his eyes were gloomy, and his smile was extremely strange. Also, I suspect that he planted the aura of the ghost race on the special envoy of the Invention Institute and then burned him to death. As we all know, Su Mu has long been possessed by parasites, so he killed people with a knife, making everyone think that it was the ghosts who killed the special envoy of the Invention Institute. What the hell? Chen Kai was extremely angry, and swears directly, who knows you well, you are a nonsense, despicable and shameless. Chen Kai, the spokesperson said in a deep voice, shut up. Chen Kai was taken aback for a moment, then he also thought about the matter between Yanmang and Wenxiwan. The Wenxi Institute was completed for human beings, but it did not belong to the Yanmang. He is a small official, so he really can't spit and curse at the people of the Wenxiwan. HMPH. Chen Kai flicked his sleeves and sat down angrily. Seeing this scene, Lu Yingren continued proudly, there is also. What the hell, I don't want to be this minister anymore. Chen Kai tore off his suit, roared angrily and rushed towards Lu Yingren. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the scene. Admin of the Yanmang, have you made a move towards Wen Xiuan? Lu Yingren is not worried but happy. His strength crushes this civil servant, he will die as soon as he comes up. Boom. Wu Zeki suddenly appeared between the two, hugging the furious Chen Kai. Calm down, go outside first. HMPH, it's useless. Lu Yingren felt a little regretful that he lost a chance to kill on the spot. Let go, let me clean up this beast. Chen Kai roared, but he was no match for Wu Zeki's strength. After all, Wu Zeki is the Minister of War in the deserted city. Although he is in a command and management position, his combat effectiveness is still much stronger than that of Chen Kai. He forcibly dragged Chen Kai and left the venue first. The moment he left the door, he suddenly turned around and made a confirmation gesture to Su Mu on the stage. Su Mu smiled slightly. Lu Yingren sighed. Look, this moth must be sheltering Su Mu, a human traitor. My thoughts are the same as Patriarch Jai Qin's. Stop awarding him the title of hero, and kill him on the spot. Hiss. The audience on the field gasped, feeling that things had become serious. The scene turned to Lu Yingren and others, and Su Mu was already unable to support herself. With the support of the Academy of Enlightenment, Yanmang can't ignore the demands of these people and continue to award Su Mu. Lu Yingren paused, and said, however, the World Academy does not intend to be a culprit. 0 inches. Well, give Su Mu to us. We will have professionals to torture Su Mu's soul. As long as he is not a human traitor and did not kill Pan Xian and Jai Tong, we will send him back. He killed Jai Tong. Jai Qin screamed, he killed my son, I must make him pay for it. Master didn't kill it. Suddenly, the surrounding temperature dropped a few degrees, and ice wings floated behind Lang Junyao, slowly falling down. Miss Lang's family, someone exclaimed. Isn't that Lang Junyao? Why is she here? I heard something happened to her and she became someone else's. Lang Junyao looked cold, and said loudly, Jai Tong was controlled by a 200-level parasite, and it was the master who killed him, so that Jai Tong could rest in peace. You have found the wrong target for revenge. Jai Qin was taken aback for a moment, his eyes quickly returned to coldness. I want to ask, who are you? Lang Junyao said, I am Lang Junyao. No, you're not. Jai Qin's expression became sour. I heard that you gave up your human body, signed a contract, and turned your whole body into elements. Now, you are just someone else's pet, the murderer's puppet. You have such a humble status, why dare I speak? How dare people believe it? Lang Junyao froze for a moment, her fair face became even paler. She clenched her fist angrily, but couldn't say anything. That's right, when she was dying, she had to use the master-slave contract, and another form survived. Although she still has a physical body, it is already different from a human body. In the senses of human beings, followers are indeed one level lower. No, Master. Master is not like this. Lang Junyao lowered her head, her tone was bleak. It's okay. Su Mu stepped forward, smiling as usual, and patted her on the shoulder. Thank you for helping me speak, ignore her, and leave the rest to me. Lang Junyao stared blankly at Su Mu, and suddenly felt the heart of the buyer. Despair. Su Mu snapped his fingers. Hee, when did the Jai family become so arrogant? Behind the scenes, a male voice sounded. That's right, Aunt Jai. I still remember how humble you were when you came to my house to ask for medicine. Why did you become arrogant today? A female voice came out. If Lang Junyao's words don't count, then it's useless for us to talk. That's fine, I'll tell my father when I get home that the Jai family will have the final say in the Southwest League in the future, okay? Said a male voice out. Two men and a woman came out and bowed deeply to Su Mu. Brother Su Mu, thanks to you killing the parasites that day, we survived. Thanks. Wow. Several people in the audience stood up involuntarily. Oh my god, Shangcheng Hua family. The insect control family. Shandu Chu's family has 3 independent secret realms, and has also cultivated several lord-level powerhouses. My god, the young master of the Huang family in Haicheng, Huang Tianli. The Huang family is the biggest benefactor of the Huil family, Jai is done. Everyone was shocked and looked at the few people who appeared on the stage in amazement. Behind Huang Tianli is the Huang family in Haicheng, the leader of the Southwest League, with strong strength. Behind Chu Chunggao is the Chu family in the mountain capital, which has 3 independent secret realms, has cultivated several strong people, and has endless talents. Backed by the Hua family, Hua Nianwei has the ability to control insects with one hand. Not only is she brilliant in intelligence, she also has special skills in cultivating medicinal plants, and she has many partners. As soon as these 3 people appeared, Jai Qin's entire face turned pale. Huang Tianli said proudly, Aunt Jai, your Jai family has the academy as a backer, are you planning to withdraw from the Southwest League? Okay, I'll tell my father when I get back, and get rid of the Jai family. Blade Peak Secret Realm, you guys just leave. Jai Qin opened his mouth wide, unable to speak. Whether it was cold and noble, or acerbic expressions, they were all shattered on the spot, leaving only dullness. She faltered and said, I didn't, Mr. Huang, the Jai family will always be the most loyal partner of the Huang family and will never betray. HMPH. Huang Tianli said, what kind of benefits did the Academy of the World give you to make such absurd accusations? Jai Qin couldn't help looking at Lu Yingren, looking for help constantly. Lu Yingren said with a sinister smile, Master Huo, no matter how you explain now, the Huang family will not recognize you as a partner. 20 inches in the future, we have to plan carefully. Jai Qin felt a chill in his heart, and his eyes suddenly became firm. Having offended the Huang family, they will definitely settle accounts later. It's better to completely fall into the world. She gritted her teeth. You are committing perjury. I propose to conduct a soul search on Su Mu. Yes, take him to the Ascension Institute and conduct a soul search. Unless he passes the inspection, he is the army who killed my son. Invalid, the spokesperson said simply and rudely. The Huang family, the Hua family, and the Chu family have all given their own verification results, and the three have no signs of possession. The evidence is cross-correlation. Yanmeng can conclude that they did not speak. Su Mu never killed Jai Tong. Jai Tong was killed by the parasites. Jai Qin was stunned. The spokesperson continued. Jai Jan will avenge his revenge and downgrade his family's credit rating to B level, and will notify the entire human territory. Jai Qin suddenly turned pale. No, no, this is not true. How can you listen to the words of a few children? Her voice became lower and lower, and eventually she slumped in her chair, losing all strength. The scene was silent, and everyone did not expect that Su Mu's counterattack came so quickly. Even if Yanmeng protects him, under the attack of Jai Qin and others, he will definitely feel very uncomfortable, and will be dragged into a long investigation and accusation. But Su Mu seemed to have been prepared, and beat Jai Qin to the ground on the spot. Huang Tianli and the others said. In addition, Tianzhao of the Leng family, Leng Junyao, the eldest lady of the Leng family, performed outstandingly in the secret trial realm and made outstanding contributions to resisting the parasites. Without her, we would all die on the spot. Jai Qin's accusation is unreasonable and inhumane. On behalf of the Huang family, I will severely protest against her. I will suspend all cooperation. Leng Junyao glanced at Huang Tianli, feeling a little grateful. But soon he looked at Su Mu again, with obedience and admiration in his eyes. All of this must be arranged by the master. Chu Chunggao and Wan Nianwei also follow the gourd. Our Hua family and Chu family also cut off cooperation with the Jai family, and do not accept any business partners who have cooperation with the Jai family. Everyone knows that the Jai family is really doomed. Lu Yingren frowned. Why is this woman so useless? Ahem. He cleared his throat, and Pan Dongji next to him immediately woke up like a dream, and shouted, that's just to prove that Su Mu didn't kill Jai Tong. Where's my son? The evidence is solid. It was because Su Mu was jealous of his S-level talent that he killed him. Su Mu must be punished. The people at the scene frowned again, even if Yanmeng would not arrest Su Da for the sake of face today. He will also bear the title of murderer and be cast aside, and even the title of hero will be covered in dust. The spokesperson turned his head and looked at Su Mu, frowning, thinking about what to do. Su Mu was not in a hurry, but just smiled calmly. For the time being, I will call you Uncle Pan. I would like to ask, what benefits has Wen Shiwan given you, so you are targeting me like this? Pan Dongji grabbed the back of the chair angrily. The Institute of Inventions didn't give me anything. They gave me photos and videos. If it wasn't for this information, I wouldn't even know you killed Pan Xian. Murderer, pay for your life. Lu Yingren also said with a sinister smile. That's right, what are you waiting for, arrest him. Su Mu smiled and shook her head. Don't worry, I'll show you something. He held his palm empty, and a ball glowing with dim light appeared. The spokesman frowned, always feeling a little familiar. Could it be the Eye of Nothingness? No, how is it possible? That thing is just a toy, and it can't be brought out yet. The Eye of Nothingness appeared in the palm of Su Mu, and then a three-dimensional picture bloomed. In the picture, two passers-by faces are talking. For 3 days, he has been hiding at home, with a secret whistle next to him, so it's not easy to do anything. If he doesn't come out, he will be in trouble. Human beings have one more genius, which is a hindrance to our race. No matter the people on or off the stage, their eyes widened. They are all well-informed and well-informed big shots, so they can naturally see the clues. In the picture, these two people are no different from ordinary people in terms of posture, behavior, and communication. Obviously, a master of disguise, or even a super killer. But this picture shows all the details of the two people's bodies at a glance. Here's how it works. The two of them can't even notice it. Among the crowd, it was Lu Yingren who looked more and more shocked. In the picture, the two people are continuing to communicate. We can only wait, or go to the outside world to do it. It's difficult. The S-level talent 7 days ago is easy to kill. But it's a pity that it's 200, he's just a fake S-level inspired by rubbish strange things, in fact it's still rubbish. Yeah, His death is very interesting. It seems that his surname is Pan. I don't know if there are any strange things in his house. You can look for them. There is information. A paper crane suddenly flew out of the pocket and hovered in front of the two of them. Is it connected? I know you want to kill Su Mu. Jihei spoke. The two said, closing communication is expensive, let's talk straight. Jihei said, I will arrange an opportunity to arrest him, and you all find the opportunity to encircle and kill him. Two people said, who are you? Where is the location? Jihei said, don't worry about who I am, seize the opportunity by yourself. Swish. The screen is interrupted. The people at the scene were shocked. These two killers are obviously of extremely high strength. Su Mu, the quasi-assassin, recorded the whole situation. What shocked them even more was that Jihei's voice was very distorted, but the cold tone of his speech was exactly the same as that of Liu Yingren from the academy. But at this time, Pan Dongji was the most furious. His eyes were red, the veins on his neck were bulging, and he looked up to the sky and screamed, Liu. Thank you. You lied to me. You know who killed my son and cooperated with them. Die. While roaring, Pan Dongji charged towards Liu Yingren. Boom. Pan Dongji was kicked by Liu Yingji and fell backwards on the ground without moving. He is just a businessman, how can he beat high-level professionals? The spokesperson didn't stop him, and after Pan Dongji was kicked away, he said coldly, Wang Shiyuan conspired to kill the heroes of the Yan League and attacked the citizens of the Yan League. Examiner Feng, how do you settle this account? Feng Jiang, the boss of Wenxi Academy, sat with a stern face, not saying a word. Come on, arrest this guy. The spokesman waved his hand, and immediately several professionals followed. Put on the magic shackles, Liu Yingren, if you resist, you will know the consequences. Liu Yingren's face was cloudy, and he suddenly yelled, no. No. The professionals who followed were hindered by the air wave, and they all stopped. Liu Yingren shouted, what can this prove? It's just that someone imitated my tone of voice, how dare you slander the special envoy of the House of Advent? Go and investigate if you have the ability. Find out and talk about it. And what is that video? Maybe Su Mu directed and acted on his own, and the editing is fake. He had confidence in his heart, and it was just a coincidence that Su Mu recorded him. There are extremely complicated connection lines in contact with those alien killers, it is impossible to find out the initiator. Liu Yingren was wrong on this point. He felt that he couldn't find out, so he didn't change his tone. Although the tone of voice has changed, the way of speaking is still the same. The spokesperson frowned slightly, feeling a little pity. Like Jai Qin's slander against Su Mu, those evidences can only be used as circumstantial evidence. No one can prove that the video shown by Su Mu is Xia. Today, we can only fight back the attack of Wen Xiuan, but we cannot directly arrest it. The spokesperson looked at Su Mu. Let's do this first, the ceremony continues, and you are still a hero of the alliance. Su Mu chuckled. I also guessed that Mr. Liu Yingren would definitely not admit it. Huh, the spokesperson wondered, what is this going to do? Su Mu looked at the many prestigious missions in the audience, and asked a question. Everyone is not confused, why do I know that Sun Yusheng, is the special envoy of the Academy of Enlightenment, a foreign spy? Feng Jiang's complexion immediately turned bad. This was not beating around the bush, but scolding him openly. The people in the audience also became curious. That's right, Sun Yusheng has been investigated as an iron case, and he is indeed a Ghost Clan spy. But why would Su Mu know something that more advanced detective professionals can't find out? Su Mu raised 3 fingers, because there were 3 great people in Wangxi. One is Sun Yusheng, who is relatively young and only at level 200. The other is Liu Yingren, who is here today. He became famous earlier and seems to have been stuck at level 500 for a long time. They are all from the deserted city, maybe we can call them fellow villagers. Of course there is a third one, named Zhang Jianming, who is also a special envoy of the Academy, a Lord-level powerhouse. It was only then that everyone discovered Hua Dian, and it seemed to be the case. Several good characters from the deserted city have entered the Academy of Veneration. But they also figured it out wrong, because there are quite a lot of people going out of the deserted city, and these 3 are only a small part of them. But, what do they have in common? Su Mu smiled slightly. Why only mention these three people? If someone has a better memory, they will find out. The three of them have cleared the heroic spirit memorial hall in the deserted city, the secret realm of the reappearance of the Abyss Mage. Liu Yingren's face suddenly turned pale. But other viewers showed puzzled expressions. What does this have to do with reappearing the secret realm? Su Mu raised his hand, revealing the ring on his finger. This is the ring of salt and iron. Swish. Under the stage, an old man suddenly stood up. The ring of salt and iron. You, how could you have it? The people around were surprised. Old Chi, what's wrong with you? What is the prison ring? Old Chi is an expert in historical research, there must be a story in this. Old Chi's face was excited. The ring of salt and iron is the magic weapon of the Abyss Mage. How could you have it? Wow, everyone at the scene was in shock. Abyss Mage. This name, which was nearly 100 years ago, has blurred everyone's memory. Hearing this name made the people on the scene feel as if they had stepped into history. Su Mu smiled slightly, because, with SSS score, I cleared the secret realm of reappearance of the Abyss Mage and got his reward. There is no need to hide this matter. The more Su Mu shows, the more powerful she is, the more attention and protection she can get. He still needs to protect himself at level 10, but now, he can show his strength as much as possible. Crash. The people at the scene showed expressions of astonishment, whispering to each other, and constantly exchanging words. SSS rating. Is it really that high? I heard that this Su Mu, before he won the first prize, had received the SSS rating of the Immortal King. My God, is there really such a genius? I remember that it was very difficult to reproduce the secret realm. Since the production was successful, only 3 people have cleared the level. 3 people. Wait, they're connected together. Isn't it the Liu Yingren 3 people that Su Mu mentioned? The person who found it was also slightly surprised, and nodded towards the person next to him. Soon, the liaison officer held the mobile phone and trembled excitedly. Yes, the staff of the Memorial Hall immediately confirmed that the highest score in the secret realm has been raised to the SSS level. No one would do a thankless job. Go to the secret realm of reproduction. The difficulty is high, and it is really uncomfortable to be brutally killed by monsters. The staff only maintains once a month, and they never go to observe changes these days. When they received the call and checked the reappearance secret realm again, they were all shocked. The highest score of the secret realm directly jumped from S rank to SSS rank. The people in the audience were shocked, and the spokesperson also showed a look of relief. Su Mu, you really surprised me. Quote. And then, what does it mean if you clear the level? Su Mu smiled slightly. Since 80 years, only 3 people have passed through the secret realm and obtained an S-level evaluation. It's the Sun Yusheng and Liu Yingren I mentioned, and Zhang Jianming who didn't show up. And after I cleared the SSS level, I saw some interesting things. Liu Yingren's face instantly turned pale, and his eyes suddenly rolled. Swish. Liu Yingren's figure disappeared instantly, and he was about to break through towards the roof. He wants to escape. Someone screamed. The spokesman's pupils shrank. Catch him. Whoosh. In an instant, another shadow flashed up, intercepting Liu Yingren at a faster speed. Boom. The huge air wave landed on the ground, but it made the surrounding people look surprised. Liu Yingren looked terrified, Li Haojiao, and was strangled by someone, trembling like holding a weasel. And the person who controlled him turned out to be the master of Wenxiwan, Feng Jiang. He actually took the initiative to go to Xiang Renyan. How is this going? Feng Jiang captured Liu Yingren with one hand, and waved the other hand in the air. A blue-green line emerged, and stretched towards the distance at the speed of light. After a while, he opened his mouth and said, Zhang Jianming stole the secret treasure of the Wenxi Academy, the hidden lotus flower, and now he has fled. The spokesperson and Feng Jiang looked at each other for a few seconds, and suddenly said to Su Mu, there is no need for Examiner Feng to lie to you, just keep talking. Feng Jiang threw Liu Yingren to the ground, and said in a cold voice, I came here only to wash away the shame of the academy. If you are right, Liu Yingren will be handed over to you. If it's just you and the 4 of you in the deserted city fighting for the relics of the Abyss Mages and affecting the academy, don't blame me. He showed a murderous look in his eyes, obviously he was really angry. Su Mu smiled lightly, and said confidently, don't worry, you will apologize. A saint-level powerhouse stood in front of him. staring at him with murderous eyes. No matter who it was, he would be Alexander. But Su Mu was not afraid at all, pulled the collar, and Lang Junyao immediately helped him adjust the dress robe. He said loudly, "When I cleared the secret realm of the Abyss Mage at the SSS level, I saw his last scene when he was dying." Below, everyone held their breath and raised their ears to listen. And that old history professor, Chi Lao, also had tears in his eyes, leaning on the back of his chair excitedly, for fear of missing a second. Su Mu said, "The Abyss Mage, with the power of one person, resisted the 100,000 troops of the Ghost Tribe, and there are many strong people of the same level among them. Reinforcements have not come for a long time, and the Abyss Mage is fighting against 100,000, gradually exhausted, and surrounded by more and more enemies." Seeing the doomed ending, he resolutely launched the forbidden spell Frost Dip Annihilation, which wiped out all life within 7 kilometers, including himself, and left behind a memory crystal. This should be the history in everyone's memory, and it is also the truth, unearthed by later generations. That's right, Chi Lao nodded earnestly. The scene recorded after the arrival of the reinforcements, and the information extracted from the memory crystal, are indeed true. Everyone also nodded slightly. Indeed, this is how history is written. The Abyss Mage annihilated the entire local army with the power of one person, and died together. The last remnant of him was imprinted in the memory crystal, wrapped in the mana shield, and was taken away by later generations. What could be wrong with this? Su Mu smiled slightly. But have you ever thought about whether the memory crystal is really left by the Abyss Mage? Old Chi frowned. What could be wrong? Besides him, who else could record the scene at that time? Some people even began to complain. This is a defilement of the Abyss Mage. He sacrificed his life for the human race, yet someone questioned him. A reasonable explanation must be given. Su Mu opened her hand to make people quiet. Masters of the Abyss sacrificed for human beings, it is indeed worthy of respect. But neither he nor the latecomers have forgotten one important thing. The structure of ghosts and humans is completely different, and the main structure of human beings is matter plus life. The ghosts are energy plus life, and there is no real entity. The projection in the material world can be minimized. The forbidden curse, Frost Annihilation, is actually a powerful spell that specializes in destroying matter, but its power is somewhat compromised when facing the ghost race. 99.9% of the Ghost Clan's army was annihilated, and the powerful forbidden spell killed them all. But there is only one of the most powerful Ghost Clan experts who survived. Su Mu glanced around below and saw that everyone was quiet, and then slowly said, "And that Ghost Tribe couldn't bear the failure of the tribe's attack, so he decided to use his tricks. It created a memory crystal, disguised as the perspective of an Abyss Mage, and placed it on the top of the battlefield for humans to discover. 99.9% of the scenes of that crystal are real, and it is indeed the real situation of that battle. This is also the reason why humans have never discovered the clue. But just in the last 0.1%, the strong ghosts have saved a little bit of their own thoughts. I don't know what is there specifically, whether it is the temptation of power, or direct mind manipulation, or generous gifts and promises. But what I know is that only 3 of them cleared the secret realm of reappearance, and at the last moment, they saw the strong ghost race man himself. And it has been reduced to its lackey." Su Mu slammed the ground, and the words hit the venue, bursting out with deafening shock. He entered the secret realm with a cheat. Not only did he spend 3 million to buy props to restrain the Ghost Clan, but he also used the undead passive to gain several extra lives. Even so, he was one step short of reaching the top of the mountain, and the forbidden spell was still activated by the Abyss Mage, and the secret realm had already failed. Thanks to the fact that it happened to be judged to have entered the perspective of an Abyss Mage, he was resurrected and faced face to face with the strong Ghost Clan, CADF. And also because he won the title of Passer by Yin Anzun, Backtracking Master. Only then did he regain control of the initiative, activated the forbidden spell again, and wiped out the strong Ghost Clan in the secret realm. If it cannot kill the opponent in the secret realm, it will also confuse and manipulate Su Shu. But luckily, Su Mu won. There was silence below. Lu Yingren's face was pale. He was no longer the gloomy look before, and the precious gifts all over his body were wet with cold sweat. Trembling with fear. But he still gritted his teeth and said forcefully, "Fart. You're lying. You are just fabricating, you want to monopolize the inheritance of the Abyss Mage. Su Mu, you must die. If you have evidence, show it. Su Mu chuckled, turned to the spokesperson and said, can you bring the memory crystal of the Abyss Mage here? The spokesperson sent someone to pick it up in the middle, nodded, and someone immediately brought an memory crystal to the stage. Su Mu said, evidence. Isn't this what it is? Everyone stretched their necks, but they didn't see anything. Thinking about it is also true, so many experts have not discovered the clue, how could it be possible to see it with the naked eye? Su Mu smiled and said, as long as you destroy it, you can see the breath of ghosts in the middle. As soon as these words came out, Lu Yingren howled, he wants to destroy the evidence, stop him. Stop him. The spokesperson glanced at Lu Yingren, and then fixed his gaze on the memory crystal. This matter is very risky. That is the relic left behind by the sages of mankind after their death. If it is destroyed and nothing happens, he will also be involved and severely punished. The spokesperson turned his attention to Su Mu, saw the iron ring on his finger, and said decisively, open it. The history expert Chi Lao said that the thing in Su Mu's hand is indeed the property of the Abyss Mage. There's a good chance he's right. Chin. Su Mu drew out the Qingling sword and swung it down easily. Click. The engram is just one crystal, easily chopped in two. Everyone stood up, their eyes widened, and they looked intently. The crystal splashed a pile of debris, which lit up in the air, emitting a beautiful shimmer. And amidst these shimmering lights, there is a very, very, very tiny fluorescence. The light blue luster disappeared half a second after it appeared. 99% of the people at the scene failed to observe this fluorescence. It is too small, too hidden, and extremely difficult to detect. But the faces of the spokesperson and Feng Jiang both changed, they gritted their teeth and said, you. Soul Clan. Wow. There was an uproar at the scene, and everyone was stunned in shock. In the Memorial Hall of Human Heroes, there is really a trap set by the Ghost Clan. The person who cleared the secret realm of the Abyss Mage is not only a pillar of human beings, but a spy deliberately selected by the Ghost Clan. Once this news comes out, it will definitely cause an uproar. Lu Yingren's eyes were full of death, he opened his mouth suddenly. At this moment, a light blue brilliance rose from his body. The people in the audience were shocked. He is going to attack Su Mu. Hurry up and protect the heroes of the Alliance. No. Su Mu also stared at Lu Yingren, and said another answer, he wants to commit suicide. Sure enough, Lu Yingren showed a cold smile and said loudly, the Lord's goal is. Stop him. The security professional yelled immediately. But Lu Yingren is a level 500 professional, and he can kill 90% of the participants on the scene by himself. They can't stop it at all. In this world, the bigger the fist, the bigger the power. A strong light blue light erupted from Lu Yingren's body, and an invisible flame was already burning on his body. In this situation, he has no way to escape. But don't let the Lord's secrets be revealed. As long as he actively violates the prohibition, he will be burned instantly. There were very few people who could stop him at the scene, and the spokesperson's guards only cared about protecting safety, and could not prevent him from committing suicide. Lu Yingren glanced at Su Mu triumphantly. So what can I do if I find out? It's not like I can't stop me. He yelled. The Lord has decided to carry out. Swish. His mouth opened suddenly, physically. Lu Yingren's lower jaw was completely torn apart, his mouth was exposed to the air, his tongue was not supported, and the whole root was limp. Cough. Hey, cough. His eyes widened, and he could no longer utter a complete sentence. The light blue flame on his body did not continue to burn because he did not continue to trigger the restriction. On the contrary, a large piece of skin on his body was scalded, causing large blisters to form in an instant. Feng Jiang squeezed Lu Yingren's jaw that was still dripping blood, and said coldly, the spy who has been lurking in the institute for decades, HMPH, you really are here. Snap. The jaw was thrown to the ground, spattering a large pool of blood. The scene became cold, and only Lu Yingren was left coughing up blood. The audience below recovered from the shock just now, seeing Lu Yingren whose face had been torn off half, couldn't help swallowing. HMPH. Feng Jiang kicked Lu Yingren to the ground, but without any movement, a few thin lines appeared in the air and penetrated into his body. Lu Yingren twitched twice, his whole body stiffened on the ground as if the stop button had been pressed. Feng Jiang said to the spokesperson, "I would like to bet and admit defeat. I am blind, people, I leave it to you, and you can try it as you want. I have nothing to say when I find out the secrets of the Ascension Academy." The spokesperson nodded. "Okay, take it down." Several professionals rushed up immediately, put complicated magic-proof shackles on the stiff Lu Yingren, and covered them with paralyzing, soothing, and hypnotic charms, put them into the stasis box, and dragged them down. When they left, Feng Jiang looked at Su Mu coldly, and the scene suddenly fell into a tense silence. Everyone felt that Feng Jiang would not let it go. Sun Yusheng has been confirmed as a spy, but he still wants to stand up for him, just to bring someone to trouble Su Mu. Now another decades-old spy has been found out, which can be said to have severely slapped the academy in the face. With Feng Jiang's character, Wuqiu must be. A few minutes passed, when everyone was extremely nervous. Feng Jiang suddenly faced Su Mu and bowed deeply. "I'm sorry." "All," Feng Jiang said loudly. "Mr. Su, the hero of the alliance, I'm sorry, but I, Feng Jiang, have no eyesight, and even took the spy as a confidant. I would like to apologize for this." Whether it was the spokesperson, the administrators, or the leaders of various forces and families, they were all stunned. The boss of Wenxi Academy, a saint-level powerhouse, apologized to a 120-level small professional. They watched. Su Mu should avoid bowing at this time, and then say something nice and let both parties go down the steps. This is Feng Jiang. If it is said that Lu Yingren can kill 90% of the people on the scene by himself, he will be subdued by the spokesperson's guards or other powerful people. Then Feng Jiang can slaughter the whole deserted city by himself, and then walk away. And after he left the Blue Star Plane, Yanmeng even had to carefully consider whether to take revenge. God-level powerhouses have extremely limited shots, and holy-level powers are almost the top combat power in the entire world. Not to mention that Feng Jiang led people to trample on Su Mu. Even if he really trampled to death, Yanmeng could only find the scene from other places. The big fist is the boss. But Su Mu didn't avoid it, but accepted the blow heavily. Feng Jiang stood up. "This old man admits it. I originally wanted to get back the scene of the Manor Academy, but I didn't want to have a few spies in succession. This matter, let's settle it. 2 cleanups. No." Su Mu smiled slightly. "Today is my awards ceremony. You oppressed and destroyed the scene in public, without any real apology." Hiss. The audience in the audience gasped. "This shit." Feng Jiang apologized. He not only dared to accept it, but also dared to ask for benefits. "Go crazy. I'm afraid I'm not courting death." Even the spokesperson frowned slightly. "Su Mu, accept it as soon as you see it. I have a sense of proportion." Su Mu smiled as always. Feng Jiang was very straightforward, and grabbed the equipment stored in his waist. "Luyun sword, epic weapon, dynamic level plus 50, as my apology." "Wow," everyone screamed. Each piece of epic equipment is priceless. According to what he said, this sword not only has a dynamic level, but it can fit any owner, and it can also increase its attributes by 50 levels. Feng Jiang actually made an apology, and even spent a lot of money. Su Mu accepted it naturally, and if you admit your mistakes, you must have the attitude of admitting your mistakes. His various attributes are very strong, but he really doesn't have a good piece of equipment. The previous Sword of Lightness was obtained at level 10, and the attributes at level 120 are slightly insufficient. Luyun sword, all attributes are top-notch, and there are good special effects. It can be used as the main output weapon. Su Mu looked at Feng Jiang, and suddenly asked, "Are you not convinced?" Feng Jiang snorted, and said bluntly, "Yes, the old man is very angry. The first anger is that you don't give me face. Deliberately make the old man, let the hospital make a fool of yourself. Second anger, I am old and dim-sighted. I let the spies, and there are still 3, become members. I was also stolen from the hidden world Lotus. I am so mad." Su Mu couldn't help feeling less disgusted with Feng Jiang. He was obviously here to slap him in the face, but when he realized something was wrong, he was the first to subdue his subordinates and threw it to Yanmeng for disposal. Yanmeng must have a way to bypass the ban and torture out quite a lot of information. And among them, there must be many secrets of the Academy of Adventism. Feng Jiang just said a word, but it was equivalent to confessing to the Yanmeng and transferring a lot of benefits. This can be regarded as having a clear distinction between likes and hates, and if you know your mistakes, you can correct them. Su Mu nodded. Okay, then I'll show you something. He clapped his hands, and a backstage staff came over with a tray. But before the person approached, a gleam flashed in Feng Jiang's eyes. The guard of the spokesperson moved half a beat slower, but he also roared, "You are not a staff member, who are you?" The staff in the backstage suddenly raised their heads, lifted the tray in their hands, and a crystal curtain wall appeared out of thin air, blocking the guards. And he also sprinted towards Su Mu with the momentum of thunder. Sudden mutation. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.